¿Cuál es su nombre, señor? Despacio y en voz alta.
Alfonso Hernández Ramírez.
Alfonso Hernández Ramírez.
All right, sir, you're here today because you were arrested for the charges of battery, domestic violence, and false imprisonment.
Señor, usted está aquí arrestado a resultado de violencia doméstica, secuestro.
I have reviewed the charging affidavit, and I do find there is sufficient probable cause.
He revisado el documento acusatorio y determino de que existe suficiente causa probable para la acusación.
All right, ma'am, in the box, if you could raise your right hand.
Señor en la sala, por favor levante su mano derecha.
You solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Jura y afirma que el testimonio que dará será la verdad, toda la verdad y nada más que la verdad.
Sí.
Yes.
All right, your name, ma'am?
Estela Alegre Díaz.
And to get a little closer to the microphone.
Estela Aler Díaz.
Yes.
And you are the alleged victim of this case, is that right?
Y usted es la víctima quien se alega sufrió en este caso.
Sí.
Yes.
All right, and are you here because you do not want contact with Mr. Hernandez or Ramirez, or do you want contact with him?
Y usted está aquí hoy porque usted desea no tener más contacto con el señor Hernández Ramírez o porque usted desea tener contacto con el señor Hernández Ramírez.
De hecho, hablé con Children and Families, o ellos dijeron que depende de lo que le pusieran, o ustedes decidieran el caso, si ya sería que tendría que presentarse a Alcohólicos Anónimos para rehabilitación.
In fact, I spoke to the people in the children and family department, and they told me that it was up to you to impose whatever it was needed, whether he needed some sort of rehabilitation or to get into a Alcoholics Anonymous program.
Okay, but what I want to know is if you would be okay. Do you want him to come home, or do you not want him to come home? Because if you don't want him to come home, I won't allow him to come back to your house.
Ok, señora, pero esto es lo que yo necesito saber. ¿Quiere usted que él regrese a la casa o que no regrese a la casa? ¿Usted quiere tener contacto con él o no? Porque si usted no quiere tener contacto con él, entonces yo ordenaré que él no regrese a la casa.
No quiero tener contacto con él.
Perdón, repita, no, quiero tener contacto con él o no quiero tener contacto con él.
No quiero tener contacto con él.
My apologies, Your Honor. I was asking the victim whether there was a comma between the no and I want. So the statement was, I do not want to have contact with him.
Okay, we can do that. All right.
Eso lo podemos hacer.
As to the battery, I will set bond the amount of $500.
Con respecto a la acusación de agresión, fijo fianza de $500.
And on the false imprisonment, that would be $500 as well.
Y fianza de $500 ante la acusación de secuestro.
Sir, you're not to return to the 7100 Autumn Vale Drive address.
Señor, usted no puede regresar a la dirección del 7100 Autumn Vale.
Except you can go there one time with a law enforcement officer to pick up your personal items.
Solamente usted puede regresar en una sola ocasión acompañado con las autoridades para recoger sus pertenencias.
And you're not to have any contact with Estela Diaz.
Y no puede tener ningún tipo de contacto con la señora Estela Díaz.
You're not to possess any guns or weapons, any drugs or alcohol.
No puede tener en su posesión ningún tipo de arma, ni arma de fuego, ni arma blanca, como tampoco ningún tipo de drogas ni alcohol.
Okay? And I'll appoint a public
bien.
defender so you have a lawyer representing you.
Le voy a designar al defensor público para que usted sea representado por un abogado, señor.
All right, ma'am, so he's not to come home and he's not to have any contact with you.
Señora, he ordenado de que él no puede regresar a la casa y tampoco puede tener ningún tipo de contacto con usted.
Okay? All right. Thank you.
Gracias.
Okay, yeah. I think we can use headset now. Wilmer Merchant. All right, defense wearing the headset.
The interpreter can confirm there is connection with the headsets.
Mr. Merchant, you're here today because you were arrested for a charge of battery domestic violence. I have read the charging affidavit, and I do find that there's sufficient probable cause. Do you have another place to go and live other than 2225 Bar Circle?
Yes,
All right. Where is that?
it's close by on Colonial.
All right, I'll set bond the amount of $500. And you are not to return to 2225 Bar Circle except for one time with law enforcement to pick up any personal items you may need. You're to have no contact with Elizabeth Pacheco. You're not to possess any guns, weapons, drugs, or alcohol. And we'll appoint a public defender to represent you. Thank you, sir. What was that case number?
I got it, Your Honor.
You do? Okay, great. Thank you.
Yes.
Cesar David Rangel Sanchez.
Yes.
All right, sir, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of violating a PTR condition. I've read the charging affidavit, and I do find that there is sufficient probable cause. I'll set bond the amount of $500. And I need to make it very clear. You're not to go to 5152 Conroy Road, to that apartment, and you're not to have any contact with Maria Bermudez. Do you understand?
Sí, entiendo todo.
Yes, I understand everything.
All right, you're not to possess any guns or weapons, any drugs or alcohol, and I will appoint a public defender to represent you. I was currently out on bond. I assume that was the PTR conditions on a battery DV, correct?
Yes, Your
That was just from last week, so it hasn't been filed on.
Honor. I'm checking right now. It may have been. It has not been filed on. We just received it on the 1st.
Yeah. All right, I'll revoke that bond and impose a new bond of $5,000.
You have two counts, Your Honor, so,
2,500, 2,500.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. You know, I did appoint a public defender to your new case as well, so you have an attorney. Tony Balone? Billy, come on forward. All right, sir, you're here today because you were arrested on a charge of attempted burglary of a dwelling. I have reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find there's sufficient probable cause. I'll set bond the amount of $2,500. Order that you not return to the 4744 Walden Circle address. And you have no contact with Leonardo DePaz. I will appoint a public defender to represent you. Thank you, sir. Carmen Zerpa. All right, she's wearing the headset.
Sí, cómo no. Sí, sí.
The interpreter confirms there is connection with the headset.
All right, Ms. Zerpa, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of grand theft, more than $750 and less than $5,000. I have read the charging affidavit. I do find that there's sufficient probable cause. I'll stay that bond of $2,500. And you're not to return to the Macy's store.
No.
That is at
mentira.
4298 Millennium
Es
Boulevard.
mentira, porque
And I will appoint a public defender to represent you.
está bien.
You'll have a lawyer.
Está bien, está bien.
Alrighty, thank you.
No, no.
Thank you. You're all set.
Gracias, thank
Yep.
you.
All right, take care. Jorge Gonzalez Larcon? You Mr. Larcon?
Sí,
All right.
Yes.
You are here today for 3 failure to appears out of Warrens County. In all 3 of those, there is no bond. And I will appoint a public defender for those cases if you don't already have a lawyer in that case. Just a no bonds, PD appointed all 3. Thank you, sir. Timothy, oh no,
¿podría hacer una pregunta?
sure, what was the
Is there a
question?
question that I can ask?
Yes, go ahead.
Yo podría tramitar un documento como notarizado para que mi esposa trate de mover algo arriba de mis hijos. Como por decir, si tengo que estar aparecido yo o no para mis hijos o no puedo hacer eso.
Is it possible that I can get a notarized document for my wife to be able to do any errands or something with for my children?
Yes, you could have it brought to the jail. You do have, the public defender can help you with that as well. It can be brought to the jail, and then, if you need that for a power of attorney or something, they can do that for you. Okay? So just speak with your attorney, they'll help you on that.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Victor Gonzalez Salcedo? All right. All right, so you're here for 3 things. First of all, 2 traffic cases, attaching a tag not assigned, and driving while license is suspended. I have read the charging affidavit. I do find sufficient probable cause. I'm going to lower the bond on the attaching a tag to $100. I'll stay the $100 on the driving while license suspended. And you also have a resisting an officer without violence charge. There's sufficient probable cause, and I'll reduce that bond to $100 as well. I will appoint a public defender to represent you on all 3 cases. I think that's it, because Hitchcock is next. I believe that's it for the Spanish cases.
May the interpreter be excused, Your Honor.
Yes, you may. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you very much.
You too, bye-bye. All right. We got the Creole next. That's Rosa Gaspard. Okay, good morning, Madam Interpreter.
Good morning.
Have you been sworn today?
No.
All righty.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to translate from Haitian Creole to English, from English to Haitian Creole in the testimony given today?
Yes.
State your name and your ID for the record, please.
357086.
All right. Ms. Gaspard, you're here today because you were arrested on 2 charges: aggravated battery with a weapon and aggravated assault, domestic violence.
OK. Madagascar, ou là, je dis parce que tu es arrêté dans 2 charges, ou tu es chargé avec batterie, avec ou tu as utilisé un bagage pour te dans goumer, et puis ou tu as fait violence.
I have read the charging affidavit, and I do find that there's sufficient probable cause for both charges.
Moi, te lis affidavit là, et puis moi, rejoins que tous les 2 charges mérités.
All right, in the witness box, if you could raise your right hand to the best of your ability, do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Témoin, est-ce qu'on capable lever main ou et pour témoigner que tout ça va dire c'est vérité?
Yes, no?
Oui, non?
Oui. Oui.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your name is?
Non, c'est qui ça?
David Doutan.
All right, Mr.
David Douton?
Mr. Duton, you are the alleged victim in the case. What did you want to tell me about whether or not Ms. Gaspard, you would like Ms. Gaspard to have contact with you?
Ok, Monsieur Douton, c'est vous-même qui êtes victime dans le cas, qui sortait besoin de Madame Gaspard qui en charge là, de communication avec ou même avec lui.
Comme moi, j'ai un petit monde, juste moi, je voulais communiquer pour petit monde, mais toujours une communication pour petit là.
We have a child together. I would like the communication to continue because of the child.
Okay. And when you say communication, do you want her to be able to come home or that she can just have contact with you?
OK. L'autre dit communication, est-ce que vous voulez pour lui capable aller la caille là ou bien simplement pour gagner communication avec vous?
Communication.
Communication.
Okay. So what I can do is I can order that she not come home and that she's allowed to have contact, but it cannot be hostile in any way.
OK. So, je vais mettre un order peut-être pour lui capable de communication avec vous, mais il pas capable venir la caille là, et communication pas bien dans jour la donner.
Would that be what you would want?
Est-ce que c'est ça que vous voulez?
Oui. Même pour capable pour petit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hold on.
All right. As to the aggravated battery with a weapon, I'll set bond in the amount of $500.
Pour charge avec des batteries, n'a mettez bon pour $500.
Now, Ms. Gaspard, if you bond out, you're not allowed to return to 1214 North Hart Boulevard. You can't go back and live at that address.
OK, Ms. Gaspard, so fait bon non sorti, ou pas capable aller dans adresse 1245 North Hart Boulevard là.
You'll have to have a separate residence from Mr. Duton.
Ou a besoin aller rester on l'autre côté séparé de Monsieur Douton.
Now, you can have contact with him, but it can't be hostile. You can't yell at him, you can't throw anything at him, you can't strike him, anything at all, and all like that.
OK, ou capable gagner contact avec lui, mais ou pas capable jouer, ou pas capable reler sous lui, ou pas capable faire un bagage sous lui, ou pas capable frapper avec aucun bagage, ou pas capable faire aucun bagage violent sous lui.
And you're not to use or possess any drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns.
OK, ou pas capable utiliser drogue, alcool, zam ou bien aucune sorte de bagage qui capable utiliser comme un bagage capable faire violence avec lui.
And I will appoint a lawyer, you'll get a public defender for you to represent you on that case.
Ou ap joindre un avocat qui se défend des publics là, qui représente ou pour cas ça.
Then on the aggravated assault case, I will set bond of $500 with all of the same conditions that I just gave you on the other case.
OK, et puis pour aggraver assault là, cas ça, m'a mette bon aussi à $500. Et puis la bien même condition avec l'autre cas avant ça, même bagaille.
Okay, and I will appoint a public defender on that case as well.
Et puis m'a gen un avocat qui a présenté ou défendre public là qui a présenté dans cas ça aussi.
All right, so sir, that means she can't come back to your house except one time she can come with a law enforcement officer to pick up any personal items. Okay, so she has to have a police officer with her.
Okay. So monsieur le pas retourner la caille là, Li kapab ale un seul fois, mais faut gen un officier de la loi avec lui, un police avec lui pour capable vin des affaires personnelles li.
Oui, ok.
Okay? And then she can talk to you, but she can't be hostile in any way.
Li kapab pale avec ou, mais li pa kapab faire violence aucune façon.
Alrighty?
D'accord.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, merci.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you a lot.
Merci.
Do you want to say something? Go ahead.
E pou lta remet mwen pitit la, paske bagay mwen lot bo a, e pou lta fèm preyo avèk pitit mwen pou l remet mwen. Bebe.
Okay. So he would have to give me the child because all my stuff is over there, and on top of that, with the child, I would need to get the child.
Well, for right now, if Department of Children and Families gets involved, then you'll have to follow whatever agreement they enter, first of all.
Okay, so pou kounya la, se Departement Children and Family, nan ka, wap bezin suiv ke nepot sa yo mette pou suiv la. Instruction ke yo bay pou suiv la.
You'll be able to go to your house one time with law enforcement to pick up anything that you need for wherever you're staying at.
Ok, ou kapab ale la ka la on sel fwa avek un officer de loi, un police, pou al des affaires wap bezin pou ale nan lot koto wap al habite ya.
If the Department of Children and Families don't enter in any kind of order, you can have the child, as long as it's okay with them, but you can't be still at that house if he's there. You have to maintain separate residences.
Se Departement Children and Family pa inclus nan ka, yo pa mette aucun order pour suivre, ou kapab gen ti moun nan, mais ou pa kapab retounen nan kay la pou habite la kay la, se mesia la kay la.
Okay? All right, thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
It was a pleasure, and thank you for using our services.
All right, take care.
Bye-bye.
All right. I don't know. Your name, sir?
David Clark Rosen.
Oh, okay. He's the new vote. All right, sir, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of exposure of sexual organ. I have reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find there's sufficient probable cause. Bond set in the amount of $500. Found out you're not to return to the Taco Bell at 4225 East Colonial Drive in Orlando. Will appoint a public defender to represent you. And I guess that petty theft is still brand new, so I'll take no action on that. There is somebody who wants to, an attorney who wants to appear virtually. Oh. BRC1, yeah. Okay. He should be there. Oh, there he is, okay. All right, Lau, well, we're not to your case yet, but when you are, just go ahead and chime in, okay?
I mean, can you see me?
Yep, we can. Can you see us?
Okay.
All right, great.
I can.
All right, your name, sir?
Timothy Hitchcock.
Mr. Hitchcock, you're here because you're arrested on a charge of trespass. After warning, bond set in the amount of $500, and I'll appoint a public defender to represent you.
Okay.
Yes, it's, Jamie texted it to me.
You're just here on like Wednesday.
Elizabeth Lorenzo is your client, right, Lau?
Yes, you are.
Okay. All right, your name, ma'am? Ma'am? Your name?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Sorry.
Mary Jameson, Jamieson, middle initial P for Patricia, sir.
All right, ma'am, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of battery. I reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find there's sufficient probable cause.
Okay.
Bond is set in the amount of $500, and I will order that you not return to the 7-Eleven at 605 West Colonial And you have no contact with Maritza Torres if you do bond out. And
If I may, Judge, I was trespassed there for a year, which I agreed to.
Yeah.
I never threw any beer can at anybody. They came out of the store and
Okay.
threw an empty beer can at my head.
Well, that'll be for your attorney and, you
Right,
know,
well,
the
that's
trial.
fine. I agreed to the trespassing, absolutely, and I won't return for a year, anywhere
Alrighty,
near there.
I'll take no action on the other trespasses.
Thank you, Judge, very
Alrighty.
much, and ladies. Okay, thank you. God love you. Excuse me.
Okay, take care. Is it a DV? Lorenzo, is that a
Yes,
DV?
Your Honor.
Yeah, okay.
Well, it's a DUI, but she's out on bond on a DV.
Oh, okay, right, I remember that one now. Yeah, it's in traffic. All right, your name, sir?
Michael Backman.
All right, Mr. Backman, you're here today because you were arrested on 2 warrants for failing to appear on trespass, trespass on a posted construction site and burglary of occupied structure. Looks like initially when they picked you up, they had that at no bond, but the actual bonds are $5,000 a piece on those. And you also were arrested for a probable cause warrant for the charge of battery, burglary with assault or battery, and a criminal mischief. And on that, get that address. Where this allegation comes from, that address, you do not live at that address, is that right?
Well, I don't know the address.
741 Tildenville School Road.
No, I do not live there.
All right, you have another place?
Kind of in between right now, sir. I was residing at 3000 Clarcona.
Okay. All right, as to the battery then, the new battery, I will set bond on that in the amount of $500. All right, ma'am, raise your right hand. Solemnly swear a testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Yes? You need to speak up?
Yes,
All righty. And your name is?
Brittany Ferris.
All right, and you're the alleged victim in the case?
Yeah.
Yes? You gotta speak up because I can't hear from over there. All right, what did you want to tell me?
I would like to still have contact with him.
So you don't have any problem having contact with him?
No.
Okay. I can make it no hostile contact. Is that what you want?
Yeah.
Or just you don't care about it, any contact's fine?
No hostile.
Okay. $500 count one. I'm gonna reduce the burglary with an assault or battery from 25 down to 1,000. And the criminal mischief will stay that at 150. No hostile contact with the alleged victim. And no guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol. And then the last thing you have is another failure to appear on a burglary of a dwelling and a petty theft. The bonds are $7,500 and $500 on that. Anything you don't have a public defender, I will appoint you the public defender on those cases.
Sir?
Yep.
Wait, any type of reductions at all that could take place?
I reduced one from 25,000 to 1,000. I think you should be happy with that and move right along.
I had no idea. I had court. I didn't know about the failure to appear.
I understand. Those other bonds were failure to appears. I didn't set those.
Okay.
So, all right. All right, so ma'am, that means he can't be hostile with you in any way. Can't raise his voice, can't throw anything around, can't do anything like that. If he does, that's a violation. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
I can't hear you.
Okay.
All righty. Thank you for coming. Thank you, sir. Yes. Yeah, that's all right. All right, got her? All right. Your name, ma'am?
Elizabeth Lorenzo.
All right, Ms. Lorenzo, you're here today because you're arrested on a DUI charge with property damage. I have reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find there's sufficient probable cause. Bond is set in the amount of $1,000. Mr. Mason is there, I think. He was.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, there you are. Okay. Did you want to be heard?
Yeah, Your Honor, you're aware that we discussed she's out on the pretrial release on the domestic violence case?
Has that case been filed on?
No, it's not been filed, and just for Your Honor, it is a case that they're going, there's a declination of prosecution. For the benefit of the court, the alleged victim is downstairs. They won't let her upstairs, but they are downstairs if you need to hear from them, but they have no intention of prosecuting. There's a no hostile contact, allowed a contact.
Okay.
If we could not revoke that bond, that'd be fantastic.
All right, I will, based upon those assertions, I'll leave that in place and not take any action on the DV bond. And are you going to represent her on the DUI, or should I consider for a PD?
Both cases.
Okay, all right, so I won't appoint a public defender because Mr. Mays is going to take your case. All right, so it's just $1,000 on the DUI. Don't operate a motor vehicle without a valid Florida license, and don't use or possess any drugs or alcohol.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
All righty, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All righty,
Thank you, Your Honor.
all right, take care.
M-A-Z-I-N.
Yep. Lyle, with an L, L-Y-L-E. Okay, all right. Your name, sir?
Batiste Daniel.
He does qualify for PTR, Your Honor.
Thank you. Sir, you're here today because you were charged with, arrested and charged with the battery domestic violence. I've read the charging affidavit. I do find there is sufficient probable cause. Do you have another place to go other than 2620 Bon Air Drive?
Yes, sir.
Where is that?
25 Healy.
Okay. All right, I'll set bond in the amount of $500. You're not to return to 2620 Bon Air Drive, except you can go there one time with law enforcement to pick up any personal items that you may need, okay? You're not to have any contact with the alleged victim, which is Berna Redding. And if you do bond out, you're not to possess any guns, weapons, drugs, or alcohol, and I'll appoint a public defender to represent you.
I don't think the cops took my phone, so I don't have any way to contact anybody. I don't have any phone numbers.
Well, that'll make it easy not to have contact with her then, right?
Definitely.
Okay, all right. So I'm just telling you, you don't have contact, so that's all you got to, you can go back to the house one time with law enforcement, though.
Right.
If you do need to. If you don't need to, then you can just stay away, all right? And then, but then also, if you have to have any issues, you can always talk to your lawyer. The public defender's been appointed.
Okay, so am I gonna get pretrial?
Well, you are eligible. Did you want that?
Please.
Instead of the $500?
Yes. Please.
Okay, I'll release you with pretrial release conditions then.
Thank you.
All righty, no problem.
I have to go to work.
I hear you. That's what I'm doing. I'm on a Sunday.
Right.
All right. Is it Arturika Knight? All right, Ms. Knight, you're here today because you're arrested on charge of battery domestic violence. I have read the charging affidavit, and I do find there's sufficient probable cause. You were living with Paul Jacobs at the Favory Circle address, is that right? Do you have another place to go? Okay. All right, does she qualify?
No, Your
All
Honor.
right, I know you're just gonna yell it out, so
Yes, I am.
have to ask.
She's
All right.
currently out on
And then
bond.
you did, and I missed it. All right, so I'll set bond in the amount of $500. I'm gonna order that you not return to 2422 Fabric Circle, except you can go back there one time with law enforcement to pick up any personal items that you may need, okay? You're not to have any contact with Paul Jacobs, Jacas. You're not to possess any guns or weapons, drugs, or alcohol, and I will appoint a public defender to represent you, and I will take no action on the trespass.
Yeah.
All right, your name, sir?
Ryan McNaughton.
All right, Mr. McNaughton, you're here today because you're arrested on charge of battery, domestic violence. I have read the charging affidavit. I do find sufficient probable cause.
He does qualify for PTR, Your Honor.
All righty. And you have another place to go other than the 420 Wrangler Road address?
No, not as of right now.
Is that where Catherine is living? Okay, you're gonna have to find someplace else, okay? You do qualify for pretrial release. I can set a bond of $500, which would require the monetary posting, or you can be released with pretrial release conditions. That requires that you check in with an officer that will drug test you, and there's there are conditions, but you don't have to post any money. Which one would you want?
I'll pay the money.
You just want, you want the bond? All right, $500 bond, no return to 420 Wrangler Road, except one time you can go with law enforcement to pick up personal items. No contact with Catherine Gnauten, no possession of any, or use of any drugs, alcohol, guns, or weapons. And I will appoint a public defender to represent you. Thank you, sir. Charmaine Matos. All right, that's you? All right, ma'am, you're here today because you were arrested on a charge of battery, domestic violence. I have read the charging affidavit, and I do find that there is sufficient probable cause. And raise your right hand, please. You solemnly swear testimony you're about to give will be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir.
And your name?
Anthony Perez?
Okay, and you're the alleged victim in the case, is that right?
Yes.
So are you here because you don't want to have contact, or are you here to tell me that you are okay with contact with Charmaine?
I'm okay.
All right, and are you living at the Aloma Avenue address in Winter Park?
Yes.
And she also lives there?
Yes, sir.
Is that okay if she comes home?
Yes.
You have no fear or any reason to think that that would be a bad idea? Now you're hesitating.
No, sir.
Okay, all right. Okay, she doesn't qualify? 'Cause
No,
you
Your Honor.
didn't say it, all right. Miss, I'll set bond the amount of $500. I'll allow you to go home because that's what he says. I'm gonna order that she not have hostile contact with you, okay? So she can have contact, but it can't be hostile. You can't raise your voice, can't throw anything around the place, you can't throw anything at him, can't take a swing at nothing, no hostile contact, okay? But you can go home. If you bond out, no guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol, and I will appoint a public defender to represent you.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
All right, guys.
Just for the court's information, that last trespass was actually filed on.
Oh, it
I was
was?
a little shocked. Just thought, you never know.
Yeah, right. No, believe me, when I'm seeing arraignments, cases that are, 3 months old and they're not filed on, and then ones that were 2 weeks ago, they filed on. It's so
It's
weird.
also your case, so.
Yeah. Oh,
It's not like the judge is gonna get mad at me for your decision.
exactly. All right, your name, sir?
Daniel Powell.
Mr. Powell, you're here today because you were arrested on a charge of battery domestic violence. I have read the charging affidavit, and I do find that there's sufficient probable cause. Were you living at the 5206 Ashwood address? And also Crystal lived there? Okay. Do you have another place you can go other than there?
Yes.
Okay. And I will set bond the amount of $500, so you have a bond. You're not to return to 5600 Ashwood Place, 5206, except one time you can go with law enforcement. So call either a deputy sheriff or a police officer. They'll go with you and you can pick up any kind of personal items you need, no furniture or stuff like that, but things that you may need to go to work and that. You're not to have any contact with Crystal Nicole Schutt, Schuutt. And you're not to possess any guns or weapons, drugs, or alcohol. And I will appoint a public defender to represent you, so have an attorney. Keep in contact with your attorney.
So how much is the bond?
500.
500.
Yeah, and you can either do that full cash, and then you get it all back, or if you get a bondsman, it's probably gonna be 100, but you won't get that back. Okay? Come on forward. Your name, ma'am?
Elizabeth Roberts.
All right, Ms. Roberts, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of battery domestic violence. I have read the charging affidavit, and I do find that there is sufficient probable cause.
He does qualify for PTR.
Yes, all right, raise your right hand, sir. Solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, Your Honor.
And your name is?
Sutterby.
All right, and you're the alleged victim in the case? All right, you can put your hand down. Are you here to tell me that you don't want to have contact or that you're okay with contact?
I am okay with contact. I'd like her to come home. I have zero fear that this will happen again.
All right, so you guys live together at the 4900 Briar Oaks address?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Well, what I'll do is I can order I'll just order no hostile contact like I have before, and you've heard, I know you've been here, I've seen you. What I'm gonna do is I'll let you go home. You do qualify for pretrial release also, so you get a choice. I can either set a bond of 500, which would cost you can post a bond, it's monetary. You post it through the county and just give them $500, you get it all back. If you go through a bondsman, they're probably gonna charge you. Well, not probably, they definitely will. Or the option is to go with pretrial release. Doesn't cost anything monetarily. You don't have to actually post anything, but you do have to meet with a pretrial release officer, and they're going to drug test you. So, which one would you rather do?
Your Honor.
Okay, all right. We'll do pretrial release. Did you have something?
Yeah, may I speak to that?
Sure.
We make financial decisions together as we're partners. If it's okay, can we do bond if she's okay with it? I would prefer that.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter to me. Whichever way works for you guys.
I don't know what this means. I don't know what bond means.
Okay, no problem. Relax. It's a really simple choice. You chose one, but he says that maybe it'd be better for him, because I guess he's ready to probably post that bond.
Yes, sir.
And he can just go downstairs and post the bond. So don't get upset. He's willing to do that. So if that's what you think is better, I can do that. That's not a problem. All right, so I'll just make it a $500 bond. Paperwork will be gone. You can go downstairs to booking and deal with that when you get done here. You're not to have any hostile contact with him. I'm gonna let you go home, but you can't have any hostile contact with him. I mean, you can't raise your voice, you can't push him, you can't throw anything around, anything like that, okay? All right, and I will appoint a public defender to represent you, so you have an attorney in the case. All righty, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Your name, sir?
Luis Antonio Rosa.
All right, Mr. Rosa, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of battery, domestic violence. I have read the charging affidavit, and I do find that there's sufficient probable cause. Were you living at the Dream Lake Drive address?
Yes, sir.
All right, do you have another place to go? Friend, family member? Because since the alleged victim is not here, I can't let you go back there and have contact with her at this point. So I have to order that you not return there. I will set bond amount of $500 so you can post a bond, but you are not to return to the 682 Dream Lake Drive, Apopka address, except one time you can go there with law enforcement to pick up any items that you may need, personal items. You know, toiletries, clothes, things such as that. You're not to have any contact with the alleged victim. I think it's not Elizabeth, that's your daughter. Is that Brunlinda?
Brunilda.
Yeah, Brunhilda. No contact with her at all. And no guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol. And I will appoint a lawyer or appoint a public defender for you. Okay? Thank you. Your name, sir?
Brandon Michael Vincent, sir.
All right, Mr. Vincent, you're here today because the state of Florida, because you were arrested on charge of battery, domestic violence. I have read the charging affidavit, and I do find sufficient probable cause. And were you living at the Lake Douglas Place address?
Yes, sir.
All right, and was that with Sheila?
My mother, sir.
Okay. Do you have another place to go?
Yes, sir. I do have a place to go. 99 Sandblast Avenue, my father's and my grandmother's.
All right, I will set bond amount of $500. Order that you not return to that address, the Lake Douglas Place address. However, you can go back one time with law enforcement to pick up any items you may need. You're not to have any contact with Sheila Roach or Roush. You are not to possess any guns, weapons, drugs, or alcohol. And I will appoint a public defender to represent you.
All right, thank you, sir.
All righty, take care. Come on forward, sir. Your name?
He does qualify for PTR, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Bing, you're here because you're arrested on a charge of fleeing, attempting to elude. I've read the charging affidavit. I do find there's sufficient probable cause. I could set a bond for you, just a monetary bond. You just have to pay to get out. Or you do qualify for pretrial release. That doesn't require any monetary bond, but it would require some conditions. You'd have to meet with your officer, and they would potentially, I think, will drug test you. Which one do you want?
PTR.
All right, I'll release you with PTR with conditions. You're not to possess any guns or weapons, drugs, or alcohol, and you're not to operate a motor vehicle without a valid Florida license. Looks like you don't qualify. You're making $900 every 2 weeks, is that right?
Yes, sir.
All right, yeah, you don't qualify for a public defender.
Yes, you do.
Oh, he does?
Yeah, did he put 9?
Yeah. I was gonna say 1,800 doesn't sound that high. Yeah, you do. I'll appoint a lawyer for you. I'll appoint the public defender for you. Okay?
Yes, sir.
You're all set.
Thank you.
Your name, sir?
Jerry Burns.
All right, Mr. Burns, you're here because you're arrested on a charge of burglary of an occupied structure. I have read the charging affidavit. I do find there's sufficient probable cause. I'm going to reduce that to $1,500 from the $5,000. In order that you not return to the Walmart store at 5991 South Goldenrod Road, and you are not to possess or use any guns or weapons, drugs, or alcohol. And I will appoint a lawyer. I'll appoint a public defender for you.
Yes, sir.
All righty, you're all set. Your name, sir?
Anthony Butts, sir.
All right, Mr. Butts, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of grand theft, third degree of a motor vehicle. I have read the charging affidavit. I do find that there's sufficient probable cause. Bond is set in the amount of $1,000 on that. You're also out on bond on an ag battery with a deadly weapon and an additional grand theft. The ag battery is from November of last year. I assume that must have been filed on 2022 CF 13292.
The other one has not been filed on yet, and then
Okay.
the 2022 case should be 13292.
It was a fight last year, Your Honor.
Yeah, he's set for trial on that on June 19th.
All right, I'll revoke and double, so it'll be 7,000. So you got a bond on it, but I'm revoking the bond.
Huh?
On the ag battery charge.
Right, the one case is no action.
Right, no action on the one because they haven't filed on it. That one's filed on, so. Yeah, a new bond, 7,000.
7,000?
And I'll point a, what's that?
Say 7,000?
Yes. And I'll point a public defender on the new case, because I think you have Tracy Kagan, although that's probably a conflict, but yeah.
Sir, I had that bond revoked already before because I had a failure to appear, but it was the bondsman fault. I never got my notice and it never came to my house for my address.
Okay.
And I actually already paid that bond twice, sir.
Well, this bond, the reason it's getting revoked and setting a new bond is their
Yeah, I
allegation
got it.
is that you have a new charge.
Yes,
I mean, the other option is I could just revoke it and make it no bond.
Have a good day, sir.
All righty. It's worth a try.
7,000.
Yeah, 7,000. Yeah. All right, your name, sir?
Carlos Seja.
All right, Mr. Seda, you're here today as you're arrested on a possession of amphetamine and petty theft. Bonds are $2,500 and $100, and I will appoint a public defender to represent you. If you do bond out, you're not to return to, where was it? I thought I highlighted it, I didn't. 7-Eleven. All right, no guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol. Yep, state them, just state them. All righty. Your name, sir?
Sam Clark.
Mr. Clark, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of carrying concealed firearm. I have read the charging affidavit. I do find sufficient probable cause. I'll stay the bond at $2,000, and I will appoint a public defender. If you do bond out, you're not to possess any guns, weapons, drugs, or alcohol.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Your name, sir?
David Clow.
Mr. Clow, you're here today because you're arrested on the charge of possession of methamphetamine. I have read the charging affidavit. I do find that there's sufficient probable cause. I'll stay that bond at $1,000, and I'll appoint a public defender to represent you. If you do bond out, you're not to possess any guns, weapons, drugs, or alcohol. No. All right, your name, sir?
Quavius Green.
All right, Mr. Green, you're here today because you're arrested on 3 charges: carrying a concealed firearm, armed trespass, and a conveyance.
He
And
does qualify for PTR, Your Honor.
He does?
Yes.
All right. And resisting officer without violence. The bonds currently are $2,500 on count 1, $150, and $100. You do qualify for pretrial release if you want that instead. So the total on the bonds would be $2,850, or you're eligible for pretrial release. Which one do you want?
Oh, wait, say it again.
Well, the total of the bonds right now are $2,850. So you'd have to go through a bondsman or post the full amount. Or you do qualify for pretrial release, which doesn't cost any money, but you have to meet with an officer, you have to meet with your pretrial release officer, and they probably would drug test you.
So I could do that. Okay.
Which one?
All right, I'll do that.
Pretrial? All right, pretrial release conditions: no guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol. And public defender is appointed.
Your Honor, Mr. Jackson refused.
Your Honor, Monica Marino for the Office of the Public Defender will waive his appearance.
All right, stay the bonds, $1,000 count 1, $1,000 count 2, $500 count 3, appoint a public defender. It was the next one. That's Durian Jackson, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I just happened to look over and saw it, so it made it seem like I was smart and knew what was happening. No, this is John Hentz?
Yes, sir.
There he is. That was the next one.
John, I'm sorry.
He went out of order.
And he's currently out on bond.
Who, what, wait, hold on. Okay. Oh, yeah. That's brand new. I'll take no action. Okay, now we're ready. Back on track. All right, Mr. Heinz, you're here today. You were picked up on a probable cause warrant for petty theft.
Yes, sir.
Bond on that is $2,500.
Yes, sir.
Let's see. In addition, there was a new petty theft. I did find probable cause on there's $1,000. And a possession of a controlled substance without prescription and a drug paraphernalia. The bonds are stayed at $1,100 on those.
Yes.
And if you do bond out, you are not to return to the Walmart store.
Yes, sir.
At 10,500 West Colonial.
Yes, sir.
And finally, I'll take no action on the driving license suspended. Yes. That's a short way of saying it. Yeah, no return to Walmart on the petty theft. And the PD appointed in all cases. Okay. Been said before that I'm a loudmouth, so. Your name, ma'am?
My name is Shelley Landon.
All right, Miss Landon, you're here because you're arrested for a new charge of possession of a controlled substance without a prescription and drug paraphernalia. I have read the charging affidavit, and I do find that there's sufficient probable cause. The bonds are $1,000 on the possession of the drug without a prescription, and $100 on the drug paraphernalia. I will appoint a public defender to represent you. If you do bond out, you're not to possess or use any drugs or alcohol. Now, you also were out on bond for a possession of methamphetamine that just happened, so they haven't filed on that, so I'll take no action on that. All right? All right, your name, sir?
Chad Morency.
Your Honor,
I have a question about
I
that
was
one.
gonna say,
It's blank.
exactly.
I have, it goes from, it lists the charges, and then it just goes blank after that. So there is nothing for PC.
Yes, Your Honor. This state would request 24 hours to supplement.
Okay. I'll do that. What I'm gonna do, though, in the interim is, I'm going to lower the bonds on all of the possession of ammunition counts to $100 instead of $5,000, and then stay everything else. There's a possession of fentanyl that count 19 that would stay at 1,000 for 24 hours, and the 5,000 on the other one for 24 hours. What happened is, Ms. Moranci, for some reason, the charging affidavit doesn't have anything at all. I have to be able to read something, or the judge has to be able to read something to find probable cause. Your bonds will stay. I did reduce a significant number of them because I was gonna do that anyways, even if they did have probable cause. Then that stays the same. The only ones I'm gonna change are the possession of ammunition to 100. Okay? So everything stays the same except for it's been reduced by all the ones that were ammunition. Instead of 5,000, they're 100. It's still gonna be probably around $10,000 with the 5,000 and a couple thousands at the end. But the judge tomorrow will have an opportunity to read that charging affidavit. If they find that there isn't any PC for the other charges, then potentially you could get released on those. Okay? But you're free to bond out now if you want to as well. And I will appoint a public defender to represent you. Your name, sir?
David Nezius.
Mr. Nevis, you're here today because you were arrested on charge of possession of cocaine with intent to distribute. I have read the charging affidavit. Looks like initially they said 7,500 and then they reset it to 15,000. I will reduce that bond to that 7,500 that originally was and appoint a public defender to represent you. Okay.
Sorry about that.
Okay, I'll stay the bonds and take no action on the grand theft. Oh, you know what? That's zero though. All right, go ahead and go back to the original 5,000 on count one because they corrected it to say it was zero. This is that one where they broke into the. Trying to figure where this one was. Oh no, this is cars. It's a different one. Okay, yeah, make that 5,000. Appoint public defender.
Theodore Sherrod refused.
Your Honor, we'll waive his appearance.
Oh, I did have a question on that one as well. I didn't see anywhere where they mentioned that they found any cocaine. Did I just miss it?
Inventoried.
I mean, I see the grand theft because he's in a car. It turns out it was stolen.
They have no
Does he-
objection to ROR on that charge.
All right, okay. All right, RR on count one, bond of 150 on the grand theft. On the possession case from, that's probably filed on, well, maybe not.
I'm checking. We have a uncooperative laptop over here, so.
Yeah, it's got, it's 2023 CF 817, looks like it's.
Not been filed on yet.
Oh, all right. And what about the grand theft trespass from February 2023 CF?
Also has not been filed on, Your Honor.
All right, no action on those.
Thank you, PD.
Yes, that's correct. Yep, and just ROR them. All right, Myron Sneed.
Behavior, Your Honor.
Will waive, Your Honor.
All right, appoint a public defender, stay the bond at $1,000, no guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol. On the battery, bond $500, appoint a public defender. No return to Marbella Palms Court. No contact with Abdul Majid Al Fassi. No guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol.
Also waive, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Temples, 2 failure, 2 appears, no bond, appoint a public defender if they don't have a lawyer in that case.
Will waive, Your Honor.
Appoint a public defender, stay the bonds, 3,500 count 1, 1,000 count 2, no return. 220 West Lucerne Circle. Your name, sir?
My name is Ifan Wang.
What about Travis Vernador? Yes, inmate number 230-144-63.
He posted bond, Your Honor.
All righty, bonded. Okay, Mr. Wang, you're here for, looks like it's a couple of, I don't have to know why. First of all, a arrest warrant for robbery with a firearm and aggravated assault with a weapon or deadly weapon, and have read those. There is sufficient probable cause. State want to be heard as to the robbery?
Yes, Your Honor, we just asked that that stay at no bond.
All right. In that case, he's not entitled to a bond, so I'll keep that no bond. The aggravated assault, the said bond amount of $5,000, appoint a public defender. If you do bond out, you're not to have any contact with, I can't remember that person's name. Looks like they just say victim 1. No contact with the victim, no guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol.
Yes, sir.
All right, and then you also have carrying a weapon, bond set with $1,000, and appoint a public defender on that as well. Thank you. Your name, sir?
Johnny Williams.
Hi, Mr. Williams. You're here today because you're arrested on the charge of possession of methamphetamine. I have read the charging affidavit. I do find there is sufficient probable cause. State a bond of $1,000. Appoint a public defender to represent you. If you bond out, you're not to possess any guns or weapons, drugs, or alcohol. Thank you, sir.
Jamel Zachary refused.
All right.
Waive, Your Honor.
All right, point a public defender and stay the bond. There's no bond on the failure to appear. Matthew Martinson.
Yes, Your Honor.
Hi, Mr. Martinson, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of no registration, attaching a tag not assigned. Is that seriously all he's in jail for? That's it? Those 2 cases?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, I will, ROR, are you on those?
Thank you.
So release your honor cognizance, appoint a public defender. Don't burn me on this. This is my case. So if you don't show up, I'll know. So you'll be, if you don't show up when you're supposed to be there in court, you won't have a bond, just to tell you, okay? Because this is gonna be mine. So I'll remember you, all right? I'm gonna release you without any bond or anything, and I appoint a lawyer, make sure you stay in contact with them. If you get a tag on that car, a valid tag, it'll get dismissed when you show up, okay? All right.
Your Honor.
Mm-hmm. Marcelino Medeiros,
You have a booking number.
230-14485, probably bonded.
2301.
230-14485,
He posted bond.
bonded. All right, making progress now. All right, Mariano Acevedo Alvarez.
Bonded, Your Honor.
Alan Ray Anderson. All right, Mr. Anderson, you're here today because you're arrested on a trespass after warning and a resisting an officer without violence charge. Is there an offer in the case?
Your Honor, it would be credit time served.
All right, Mr. Anderson, if you wish to enter a plea of no contest to both of those charges, it'd be time served and court costs. That'll give me a total of $273, and I'll give you 12 months to pay that. Would you like to resolve those cases, or do you want to just have the bond set?
I'll bomb.
What's that?
Wanna have a bomb?
All right, $500 on count one, $100 count two, and I'll appoint a public defender to represent you. So what happens, you're not paying attention. I don't think you heard me.
Second, sorry.
You went, huh? All right, you could be out. Amanda Bailey.
All right, Your Honor.
All right. Kendrick Butler.
We'll waive, Your Honor.
Appoint a public defender, stay the bonds 500 and 250, and no return. Raymond Calderon. Mr. Calderon, you're here because you're arrested on a charge of petty theft. I have read the charging affidavit. You find there's sufficient probable cause. Bond set in the amount of $500. Appoint a public defender to represent you. If you bond out, you're not to return to the Walgreens at 5185 North Lane. Okay?
Yes.
Rafael Candelario. You are Ms. Candelario?
Yes, sir.
All right, sir, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of resisting without violence. I've read the charging affidavit. I do find sufficient probable cause. So you want to, do you have a time serve offer?
This one's Raphael.
Yep.
Yes, Your Honor.
If you wish to enter a plea of no contest, the state recommends that you be sentenced to the time you served. I'd impose court costs, and I'd give you 12 months to pay that. Is that what you want to do? All right, are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol today? Have you suffered from or been treated for any mental illness in the past? You understand that by entering this plea, you're going to give up some rights. You give up the right to proceed to trial. You give up the right to be represented by a lawyer at that trial, and if you can't afford one, one would be appointed. Give up the right to require the state to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt. Give up the right to question or cross-examine any witnesses the state would bring to testify against you. You give up the right to bring any witnesses that you may wish to testify for you, and also you give up the right to testify or refuse to testify. You understand that those are the rights you're giving up by entering a plea.
Your Honor, I came a little late when I caught up with the conversation what you're telling me. Time served.
Yes,
That I be going home today?
that's correct, if you don't have anything else holding you.
Okay, no, sir.
right.
I can comply with everything
All
you
right,
say.
so you understand that those are the rights that you're giving up.
Yeah.
Finally, you understand that this is punishable by up to a year in the county jail and a $1,000 fine, and that the entry of your plea could result in deportation if you're not a citizen.
No.
All right, I'll accept your plea, I'll withhold adjudication, I'll send you the time that you've served. I'll impose court costs and a $50 cost of prosecution, total of $273, and you have 12 months to pay. You can pay a little bit or all at once, as long as it's paid in 12 months.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, you'll be released as to this case. Look at that. One less for me. There's a lot of these 84s here. How is that working out? When it's supposed to be one for them, one for me, one for them. pencil. It's like, what? All right. Your name, sir?
Robert Palul.
Mr. Wu, you're here today because you're arrested on a trespass after warning charge. I have read the charging affidavit. You do find sufficient probable cause. Is there an offer for Mr. Falou?
It would be a credit time served, Your Honor.
Wish to enter a plea of no contest, the state would recommend that you would just be sentenced to the time you've served and with court costs, which is a total of $273. Did you want to resolve that today?
Yes, sir.
All right, so you're gonna enter a plea of no contest. Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol?
No, sir.
Have you suffered from or been treated for any mental illness in the past?
No, sir.
You understand that by entering this plea today, you're gonna give up some rights. You give up the right to proceed to trial. Give up the right at that trial to have a lawyer represent you, and one would be appointed if you cannot afford it. You give up the right to require the state to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to cross-examine or question any of the witnesses the state would bring to testify against you. Give up the right to bring your own witnesses and also the right for you to testify or refuse to testify as provided by the Constitution of Florida and the United States. You understand you're giving up those rights?
Yes, sir.
And finally, you understand that this is punishable by up to a year in the county jail, up to a $1,000 fine, and that the entry of your plea could result in deportation if you're not a citizen. Understand all that?
Yes, sir.
All right. I will accept your plea. I'll withhold adjudication, sentence you to time served, impose court costs and a $50 cost of prosecution, total of $273, and I'll give you 12 months to pay. You can pay a little at a time or all at once as long as it's paid the next 12 months. All right. You'll be released as to this case.
Terrence Haywood, mental health.
Wait,
All
Your
right.
Honor.
Stay bond to $500, appoint a public defender, no return if he bonds. Keith Hicks. All right, Mr. Hicks, you're here today because you're arrested on a trespass of the structure or conveyance. I have read the charging affidavit. I do find sufficient probable cause. It's at the airport. Any offer in that case?
Yes, Your Honor, it would be a credit time served.
Wish to enter a plea of no contest, Mr. Hicks. The state will recommend that you be sentenced to the time that you've served with an imposition of court costs. Is that what you want to do?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so you're entering a plea of no contest? Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol today?
No, Your Honor.
Have you suffered from or been treated for any mental illness in the past? You understand that by entering this plea or giving up some rights, you give up the right to proceed to trial, the right to, at that trial, be represented by an attorney, and one would be appointed if you cannot afford it, the right to require the state to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt, the right to question or cross-examine any witnesses the state would bring to testify against you, and the right to bring your own witnesses if you wish. Finally, the right for you to testify or refuse to testify as provided by the United States and Florida constitutions. You understand you're giving up those rights? Finally, you understand this is punishable by up to 60 days in jail, up to a $500 fine, and that the entry of your plea would result in deportation if you're not a citizen. All right, I will accept your plea. I'll withhold adjudication, impose time served, court costs, $50 cost of prosecution. That's a total of $273, and I'll give you 12 months to get that paid.
Thank you.
All righty, take care. You'll be released as to this case. Thank you. Your name, sir? Oh, Keith Hicks. Is that Mr. Hicks?
That was Hicks, Your Honor.
Oh, that was Hicks. Zachary Lewis? No.
Mr. Lewis is behavior.
All right.
Your Honor.
Stay the bonds, 500, 500, no return, no guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol. Appoint a public defender. Matthew Neal, or Jason Neal. Jason Neal, gotcha. All right, Mr. Neal, you're here today because you're arrested on the charge of trespass. I have reviewed that and do find sufficient probable cause. And is there an offer on that?
Your Honor, yeah, it would be a credit time served, but he also has a disorderly
I
conduct.
saw that, yeah. Can we get rid of that one too?
I can't get rid of that one. That's the city attorney's case. I don't even have access to it.
Oh. How come that didn't get pled when he was here originally? Okay, I won't take any action on it. So do you want to resolve that? You still have the disorderly conduct, but if you'd like to enter a plea to the trespass, it'd be time served and court costs being $273, and I would give you 12 months to pay it.
Okay.
You want to do that?
And we'll
All right, so
resolve-
you're going to enter a plea of no contest then?
We're gonna resolve both?
It's a city case, but I know David wouldn't object. He'd be fine with it. Yeah, I'll do both.
Thank you, sir.
Time
Yes.
served, time served. Okay, you want to do that?
Yes, no problem.
All right. Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol?
No.
Have you suffered from or been treated for any mental illness in the past?
Well, yeah.
Sometime? Take any medication for that?
No, it's for anxiety. I can't afford my prescription.
All right, but you understand what's going on here today?
Yeah.
And I can tell that you do because you had relevant questions and comments to what I was saying. You understand that by entering this plea, you're going to give up some rights, the right to proceed to trial, the right at that trial to question the witnesses the state would bring to testify against you. You also have a right to have a lawyer at that trial, and that a lawyer would be appointed if you cannot afford one. You have the right to require the state to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt at that trial. You can bring your own witnesses, that you're giving that up, and you're also giving up your right for you to testify or refuse to testify. You understand that?
Wait, you're saying I have a trial for this too?
No. You're giving up the trial.
Oh, okay.
You're giving up your right to a trial. You understand that?
Yes.
Okay. Finally, that both of these are punishable by up to 60 days in jail, up to a $500 fine, and that the entry of your plea could result in deportation. Understand all that? All right. I'll accept your pleas. As to the 2023 MO 368AO, disorderly conduct, I'll withhold adjudication, impose, sentence you to time served, the court cost of $223. In the new case, I will accept your plea with.
I'm sorry, it's 273. You got a pre-trial coming up, so the PD is appointed.
Okay.
The MO, so it's 273. Sorry.
Oh, the 50, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so it's 273. And then on the other case, it would be withhold of adjudication, court cost, $50 cost of prosecution, and I'll give you 18 months to pay that. So you can pay a little at a time or all at once, as long as those are both paid within 18 months. Okay? All righty.
Sir.
Someday, we'll figure it out.
Your name, sir?
Ryan Peterson.
Ms. Peterson, you're here today for a couple of things. First of all, you're arrested on a new charge of possession of drug paraphernalia. I have read that, and I do find that sufficient probable cause. Is that and then also you have a second charge of disorderly conduct, and I do find that there's sufficient probable cause on that as well. Do we have?
Yes, Your Honor, it would be credit time served. He also has got another city case for disorderly conduct. He's out on ROR for.
All right, so if you want to resolve all three, you can enter pleas of no contest, and it'd be time served and court costs on all of them.
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that what you want to do?
Yes,
All right. Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol today?
No, Your Honor.
Have you suffered from or been treated for any mental illness in the past?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you understand what's going on here today, though?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You understand that by entering these three pleas of no contest, you're giving up rights. You're giving up your right to proceed to trial, giving up your right at that trial to have a lawyer represent you, and one would be appointed if you cannot afford it. You're going to give up the right to cross-examine or question the witnesses the state would bring to testify against you, giving up the right to require the state to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt, giving up the right for you to testify or refuse to testify as provided by the Constitution of Florida and the United States, and finally, giving up the right for you to bring your own witnesses. You understand that those are all rights you're going to give up by just entering a plea of no contest?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Finally, understand that the disorderly conduct, those two charges, actually, yeah, those two charges are punishable by up to 60 days in jail and up to a $500 fine. The possession of drug paraphernalia is punishable by up to a year in the county jail and up to a $1,000 fine, and that the entry of your pleas could result in deportation if you're not a citizen. Understand all that?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. As to 2023 MO 735AO, I will withhold adjudication, sentence time served, $223. Is there PD on that one also? Yeah,
The state didn't file on it, so just.
all right, 223. Pay that within 18 months. And then in the other two cases, in 2023 MO 788AO, that other disorderly conduct, court cost, time served, withhold adjudication, and then finally on the possession of drug paraphernalia, court cost, $50 cost of prosecution, and withhold adjudication, time served. Okay, they'll be released on those cases. That clears all three for you.
Excellent, Your Honor.
Alrighty. You better file on those cases, otherwise I'm gonna have to unwind that. Like, file and info. All right, your name, sir?
Austin Roberts.
All right, Mr. Roberts, you're here for three cases. First of all, possession of drug paraphernalia. I've read the charging affidavit. I do find that there's sufficient probable cause. I'm gonna set that bond in the amount of $100. I'm gonna reduce that bond. Appoint a public defender to represent you on that. And you are also arrested on 2 warrants for, violation of probation out of Polk County. There's no bond on those. And we'll notify Polk County that you are here so that they, can, come and get you to get that resolved as soon as possible. I will appoint a public defender on the short term on those cases, to assist you with that, all right? Your name, sir?
David Spears.
Mr. Spears, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of attempted battery on a law enforcement officer. I have read the charging affidavit. I do find sufficient probable cause. Bond set in the amount of $2,000. And you're not to return to the Dockside Inn and Suites if you do bond out. I'll point out, it looks like you don't qualify. Make sure here. Yeah, you don't qualify for a public defender, so I can't appoint a lawyer for you. Okay? Yep.
May I address the court, sir?
Sure.
I would like to request that, if possible, you grant me a recognizance bond or reduce my bond to a cash that I could make. I do have means in my wallet, in my property. I am currently employed as the administrative assistant for the Missouri State Public Defender in West Plains, Missouri, a job I would like to keep, but I need to be able to call, speak to my supervisors. I'm here on vacation. My wife and son are still at the Dockside Inn. I have means to get a hotel. Obviously, I would want to return and do whatever I can to take care of this, because I would like to keep my job and maintain my life. This is one of those aberrations that I'm ashamed of.
Did you go, I mean, obviously he's out of state, so that's why he doesn't qualify.
And Your Honor, since he's out of state, he's not gonna qualify.
Due to the charge, Your Honor.
Were you able to verify any of what he? Oh, he wasn't interviewed. Oh, okay. So they don't bother.
And Your Honor, he hasn't been positively identified. His fingerprints have not been cleared yet.
Well, I'm looking at, it says out-of-state arrest, DWI, statutory rape, first degree, person under 14, forcible rape, forcible compulsion, murder, first degree. Sorry, do you see that?
Yes.
Although the convictions are DUI ×2, endangering welfare of a child, first degree, and hindering prosecution. It's 10 years ago. Yeah, I don't feel I have enough. I'm just gonna leave it at the 2,000. Sorry. Okay.
I understand, sir.
And I can't, you can talk to the public defender, but it makes too much money. If you work for the PD, you can't get the PD. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's right. Your name, sir?
Uter, sir.
Your Honor, this is when we reset.
Yep, what happened to Walter Zhang? Sure. 230-14479.
You posted bond, Your Honor.
Okay, here we go. So, this is from yesterday. That's correct. Got that.
Yes? Yeah, the questionable looking.
Okay. Located in the shopping bag, 15 grams fentanyl, 29 grams MDMA. Okay. That was the question. That's how they get there. 3.9, 2.1, 33 grams. All right, so we're back on the, on Mr. Uter's charges. Now with the supplement, the court does find there's sufficient probable cause, because before we just didn't have the weights, which is how they get to trafficking. So I'll stay the bonds, 200,000 on the count 1, 50,000 count 2, 1,000 count 3, 1,000 count 4, 500 count 5, 2,500 count 6, 3,500 count 7, and 500 count 8. Appoint a public defender to represent him, and no guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol. Now, is this a news? No, it's the same. On what? I don't have that. Oh, this, no.
Excuse me, Your Honor, can I speak?
Hold on just a second. That's what I had, and then. Oh, okay. He's out on bond on trafficking.
Your Honor,
Yeah.
I would like to speak. I was out on bond on trafficking. I was doing good, and I really don't know nothing about or want to speak on at this with this charge. But I just feel like how it happened and how it's written up. I shouldn't be here right now. I'm being honest, Your Honor. I shouldn't be here right now facing these charges. It's saying that the place is so dark, very dark, and it's not saying nothing. I done been in similar situations like this, Your Honor, and where it's, know what I'm saying, the officer would state certain facts, like saying, oh, well, I seen him throw something, I seen him hide something or something like that. I was just going to get a beer, Your Honor, and this took happen, and know what I'm saying? I'm gonna keep it 100.
Well, and I understand that. The bar for today is just, you know, that there's probable cause. Doesn't mean that it's, you're gonna get convicted of it. That's gonna be up to yourself and your lawyer. I'm not gonna take any action on the thing you're out on bond on, so I'll leave that where it is. Okay, and you can talk to your lawyer about whether it makes sense, if you're not gonna be able to bond out, to not get credit for that. But I'm not gonna revoke that bond. I'll leave that bond in place. And I did appoint a public defender. I assume they'll probably give you the same person to represent you on both, or it's somehow they'll figure that out. Oh, so you have a private, did you want me to appoint a lawyer on this case just for right now? Or do you just want to, are you gonna get with Vic?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna get with him.
Okay, then I want to appoint the public defender. Just give Vic a call. Yep.
Just for the court's information, he is set for a pretrial conference on June 22nd on that other case.
Okay, yeah, so if you bond out, then then you can go to your pretrial. If not, they'll take you. If they order you over.
Hey, do you know what happened to Garcia Juan? Augustin? He was trafficked.
That's it.
All right, John Kastner. I'm Mr. Kastner here for two things. First of all, you're arrested on a charge of possession of cannabis with intent to sell or deliver. I did find sufficient probable cause, bond set of $1,000. Appoint a public defender to represent you on that. And you also were on probation, so there's an on-site probation, there's no bond on that, and I'll appoint a public defender on that violation of your probation to assist with that. Thank you, sir.
Anything I could say to him? No, I'm talking about.
Your name, sir?
Donald Ayers.
Mr. Ayers, you're here because you're arrested for open container and resisting without violence. There's another city case.
Yes, Your Honor. It would be a credit time served.
If you wish to resolve this case, if you want to enter a plea of no contest to the open container and the resisting, it would be time served, withhold, and court costs. You can resolve that one, and then if you do that, I won't. Your bond will remain in place on the petty theft, resisting, and battery charge. Is that what you want to do?
Yes, Your Honor.
So you're going to enter a plea of no contest then to both those charges? Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol today?
No, sir.
Have you suffered from or been treated for any mental illness in the past?
Yes.
Take any medication for that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you understand what's going on here today?
Certainly.
All right. You understand that by entering this plea, you're going to give up some rights, the right to proceed to trial, the right at that trial to have a lawyer, and if you can't afford one, we'd appoint one for you. The right to require the state to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt at your trial. The right to question or cross-examine any of the witnesses that would be brought to testify against you, the right to bring your own witnesses, and finally, the right for you to testify or refuse to testify as the Constitution provides. You understand that? Finally, understand that these are both punishable by up to 60 days. Actually, one's punishable, the open container is punishable by up to 60 days in jail. Resisting is punishable by up to a year in the county jail, and the fines would be $500 and $1,000 as the maximums. And that the entry of your pleas could be used against you in any deportation proceeding if you're not a citizen. Understand all that? All righty. I will accept your pleas as to count one, the open container. I'll withhold adjudication, sentence time served. Count two, resisting without violence, withhold adjudication, time served. Those sentences run concurrent with one another. I'll impose court costs of $223. There is no additional cost, and I'll give you 12 months to get that paid. You can pay a little at a time or all at once. And I'll take no action on your other case. Don't forget that you do have that case. I guess it's still waiting whether they're going to file it or not.
It has been filed on, Your Honor, but,
No, except for arraignment?
yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I was trying to look up the next one.
Does he have the PD in that one? Yeah, just keep in contact with your public defender on that other case, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
All righty. Yep.
Never mind.
All righty.
Have a nice day.
You too. Okay. Mr. Fillmore, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Fillmore, you're here for two cases. You were charged with disorderly conduct and resisting without violence. Same withhold and time served?
Yes, Your Honor.
If you wish to resolve that case by entering pleas with no contest to both of those, it would be a time served and court cost offer. Is that what you want to do?
Yes, sir.
Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol?
No, sir.
Suffered from or been treated for any mental illness in the past? Understand that by entering this plea, you're going to give up certain rights, the right to proceed to trial, the right at that trial to be represented by an attorney or lawyer, and one would be appointed for you if you cannot afford it. The right to require the state to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt. The right to question any witnesses the state would bring to testify against you. The right to bring your own witnesses. And finally, the right for you to testify or refuse to testify as provided by the Constitution. You understand you're giving up those rights. And then finally, understand that these are the count one, disorderly conduct is punishable by up to 60 days in jail and up to a $500 fine. And count two, resisting is punishable by up to a year in the county jail and up to a $1,000 fine. And that both of these pleas could be used against you in any deportation proceeding if you're not a citizen. Do you understand all that? Yes, sir. Okay, go ahead and sign that. Okay, I will accept your pleas as to count one on withhold adjudication, sentence to time served. Count two, withhold adjudication, time served, those sentences run concurrent with one another. I will impose court costs and a $50 cost of prosecution, total of $273. And that will, and that will, you can pay that a little at a time or all at once, as long as it's paid in 12 months. All right, you're all set. You'll be released as to this case. Your name, sir?
Robert Hegler.
Mr. Hegler, you're here today because you're arrested on a new charge of open container. I read the charging affidavit. Did you find that there's sufficient probable cause? Is that also a time served?
Yes, Your Honor. He also has an open
Ag assault.
ag assault. I'm not exactly sure the status of that. I've looked it up, and
Yeah, it's
yeah, I have it right now. I still can't figure out what our office is going to do with that.
All right.
I have no objection to a credit time served, but it does appear that the alcohol continues to be an issue for Mr. Hegler, and I would
Yeah.
ask that he take it easy.
Okay. So, Mr. Hegler, if you want to resolve your case, you can enter a plea of no contest, and the offer from the state would be a time served and court costs on the new charge. Is that what you want to do?
Yes, sir.
All right. Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol today?
No, sir.
Have you suffered from or been treated for any mental illness in the past?
No, sir.
You understand that by entering your plea, you're going to be giving up some rights: the right to proceed to trial, the right to be represented by a lawyer at that trial, and if you cannot afford one, one would be appointed. The right to require the state to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt, the right to question or cross-examine any witnesses the state would bring to testify against you, the right to bring your own witnesses, and finally, the right for you to testify or refuse to testify as provided by the Constitution. You understand you're giving up those rights?
Yes, sir.
And then finally, you understand this is punishable by up to 60 days in jail, up to a $500 fine, and that the entry of your plea could result in deportation if you're not a citizen.
Yes, sir.
All right, I'll accept your plea. I'll withhold adjudication, send you to time served, court costs, and a $50 cost of, there was a city or no? $50 cost of prosecution, or no? Oh, just $223 then. And I'll give you 12 months to pay, and you'll be released as to this case. I'll take no action on the other case, but recognize that case is still pending. And I expect you probably have a public defender in that case, in the
Yes, I
Osceola
do.
case. All right?
Thank you,
Okay,
sir.
good luck.
Akeem Blake.
All right, Mr. Blake, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of battery, domestic violence. I have read the charging affidavit, and I do find that there is sufficient probable cause. Do you have another place to go other than 7348 Briarland Court to live?
No, sir.
Because I'm not, since there's nobody here, I can't let you go back there. You're not going to be able to have any contact with Christine Blake, on the short term at least. So you're going to have to find somewhere else.
Yes, sir.
Okay? All right, I'll step on the amount of $500. No contact with Christine Blake. No return to 7348 Briarland Court. You can go back there one time with law enforcement to pick up any personal items that you may need. And that when I say personal items, that's stuff like clothing and toiletries. That's not any weapons. It's not.
He had 2 cases. That Spanish guy had 2 cases.
Did he? Oh,
Well, the interpreter probably gone. It's the same thing.
yeah. Oh, you know what? I remember I signed 2 warrants on him. Yeah. Yeah, just stay those. But you can go back and pick up any toiletries or clothes or anything you may need, but you have to take law enforcement, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, and again, you're not to have any contact with Christine at all. And I'll appoint a public defender to represent you. I assume that this petty theft has not been filed on, since it's like 2 weeks ago. All right, I'll take no action on that. 500.
Did you say no weapons?
Yeah, no weapons, no guns, no drugs, no alcohol either.
Yes, sir. Thank
Okay,
you.
all righty. Yeah, well,
I don't know if you want those.
eventually, maybe, I don't know. All right, your name, ma'am?
Jordan Smith.
All right, you're here because you're arrested on a charge of possession of methamphetamine. I have read the charging affidavit. I do find that there's sufficient probable cause. Bond set in the amount of $1,000. Did you want to be, having a lawyer appointed?
I don't think I need one.
Pardon?
I don't need one.
You don't, or you do? You don't need an attorney when you're charged with a felony? Well, I'm gonna appoint a public defender to represent you. You can always talk to them and ask them to withdraw, but I think you do. All right, good luck. Your name, sir? Your name?
Angel Ramon de Valle.
All right, sir, you're here because you're arrested on a charge of possession of methamphetamine and possession of drug paraphernalia. I reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find there's sufficient probable cause. Bond stayed the amount of $1,000 on the first count, $500 on count 2, and I'll appoint a public defender to represent you. Come on up, sir. Your name, sir?
Neville Guerrero.
All right, Mr. Guerrero, you're here today because you're arrested on a probable cause warrant for the charge of criminal mischief, $1,000 or more. The bond is set in the amount of $7,500 on that. Did you want to have a lawyer appointed to represent
Good
you?
morning, Your Honor. Luz Root. I was retained to represent Mr. Guerrero. I filed a notice of appearance last night.
All right, then that we don't need a public defender, you have an attorney. Is there anything you wanted to say?
Yes, Your Honor. He was arrested on this warrant. He lives in Texas. He was turning himself in on the way to Florida. However, he got picked up in Missouri. So he spent 23 days in jail pending for this extradition, and he has a hold for a bond plus PTR. We'd like to ask the court to remove any PTR conditions since he will be going back to Texas. We have no objection to the no return to the scene and no contact with the victim.
Okay, then just stay the bond and then just no contact, so the no PTR conditions. We're gonna move it.
Your Honor?
Yep.
Can we just specify on the order that he is allowed to return? Sometimes no PTR conditions isn't enough and we end up
Okay,
stuck
he
back.
can return, that's fine, no return to the. Okay. There's no return to the La Quinta Inn at 5621 Major Boulevard, is that where it occurred? Looks like it did. Okay, yeah. All righty.
Thank you, Your
All
Honor.
set.
That's all I have. May I be excused?
Yes, you may, thank you.
Do I exit that way? Yep.
Nice to meet you.
Your name, sir?
Shaquille Grant.
All right, Mr. Grant, you're here because you're arrested on a on a failure to appear warrant with a $1,000 bond on it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Please, Your Honor. Mr. Grant is represented by Johnson Mills. I will be assisting him in co-counseling in this case because I know the family. Can State and I approach briefly?
Sure. What's your position? Okay, yeah, I mean, I know it's Faye's case. She wouldn't object if I felt it was okay. So I'll set it for $500. All righty.
Your Honor.
Yep.
These are all the matters I had before this court. It was always good to see you again, Judge. With your permission, may we be excused?
Yes, you may.
Thank you. All right. Oh, and bond set at 500?
Yes.
Thank you. All right.
Yeah. Your name, sir?
Michael Bentley, sir.
Mr. Bennett, you're here today because you are arrested and charged with 2 charges, child abuse and battery domestic violence. I've read the charging affidavit. I do find that there's sufficient probable cause. Do you have another place to go? And were you living at the Westgate Road address?
That's my family, sir.
Okay.
Mistaken, sir. That's what I was going to say.
And where does Miss James live?
Same.
All right. Do you have another place to go?
No, I've been staying there for 3 years.
Because if she's not here, I'm gonna have to order that you have no contact with her and you can't go back there if she's living there. So you're gonna have to find somewhere else to go. Okay?
That's my family.
I understand, but if she's there, you can't be there. Now, that could change if she goes and talks to the state and they're willing to do that. But for right now, I can't let you go back there. So as to count 1, the child abuse step on the amount of $500, count 2, $500. No return to 4137 Westgate Road, although you can go back there one time with law enforcement to pick up any personal items that you may need. You're not to have any contact with Zalea Jones or James. And I know that you have children with her. So is DCF involved? I didn't see that they were.
Your Honor, the victim listed, I believe, is his sister. And his.
Oh, that's right, yeah. That was the child. I had to read it twice to figure that out. Okay, and so no contact with your sister or any witnesses for the time being. And I'll appoint a public defender to represent you. That petty theft, no, that's not, and I'll take no action on the petty theft.
Oh, bro.
All righty, good luck. Come forward, ma'am. Your name, ma'am?
Tramika TR.
I'm Ms. TR. You're here because you're arrested on a charge of battery by strangulation, domestic violence. I've read the charging affidavit, and I do find that there's sufficient probable cause. Do you have a place to go other than 2310 West Jackson?
No, ma'am. No, sir.
Who lives there? That's Morena Finellis? Who's that?
My mom is Susan Malik. He don't live with me.
So he doesn't live at that West Jackson address?
Correct.
Okay. That was just where you guys were meeting for the child exchange? Okay. All right, I'll set bond in the amount of $750. You're not to have any contact. Does she qualify? All right. You also qualify for pretrial release, so you don't have to post any monetary bond. There are conditions that come along with pretrial release, but you don't have to actually post any money. So did you want to do that, or would you just like a straight $750 bond?
Can you repeat that again?
Sure. You can pay, one is $750. You have to pay money, which you get out. The other one's pretrial release. You don't have to pay any money, but there are conditions. You have to meet with an officer. There'll be drug testing, things like that.
Oh, in order to get out.
So which one do you want?
You could just do the 700.
Okay, so up on the amount of $750. You'd have no contact with Moreno Finellis. No guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol. And you're allowed to return to the 2310 address. And appoint a public defender to represent you. All right, your name, sir?
Marcus Angel.
All right, Mr. Engel, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of battery domestic violence. I have read the charging affidavit. It's slim. It's only 3 sentences, but I guess they got it all in there. So I do find sufficient probable cause. Sir, raise your right hand, please. solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir.
All right, your name, please?
George Hernandez.
I'm sorry, you're gonna have to speak up a little.
George Hernandez.
All right, Mr. Hernandez, you're the alleged victim in the case, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, tell me, what do you want me to know?
Not last night. Yesterday morning, we were laying down in the same bed. We started talking, kind of led to an argument. I stated, I don't think we should be together anymore. He then said, it's either we're dating or I'm going home. I said again, I don't think we should be together anymore. I tried to get out of bed. My leg was between his legs. He pinched his legs and didn't let me up. And so I said, let me go. He then grabbed me. I flailed to get him to let me go. He then came and sat up and tried to grab me again. So I grabbed his arms to get him to let me go. And then when I let him go, he slapped me. And then when I was trying to get out, he started pushing me saying, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you.
Do you want to have contact with him, or do you want to have no contact with him? Or no hostile contact? So that's really the three options. No contact whatsoever, or no hostile contact, meaning he can't raise his voice, can't raise his, hand to you or anything.
No hostile contact.
All right. And were you guys living together?
We had just moved here from Texas, and we've been living in the Flamingo Crossings dorms provided by Disney.
Okay.
And yeah, we shared a room.
So the Herzog Road, that's a hotel or something. Do you want him to come back there or no?
He can go get his stuff, but I don't want him to stay there.
Okay, all right. Okay, Mr. Engel, I will set bond in the amount of $500. You have to have no hostile contact with Mr. Hernandez, no hostile contact, no guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol. You're to maintain separate residence. You can go back to where you were, had a residence with him one time with law enforcement to pick up any personal items that you may need. And you do qualify for pretrial release, so you could go without monetary conditions as well if you wish. So those are your options, $500, or you can go PTR. PTR doesn't require monetary bond, but there are conditions that come along with it. You have to meet with an officer, they will drug test you.
So the plan was me going back to Texas. How would that work with me going back home?
Well, whichever way you go, if you bond out, then you could go back. You just have to keep in contact with your attorney, and I will appoint a public defender. Or if you are on pretrial release, then you're going to have to clear that with your pretrial release officer. If you're going to go back to Texas. Okay? What do you want? Which one?
I'll do the PTR.
All right. Pretrial release. No guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol, no hostile contact with Mr. Hernandez, and maintain a separate residence. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Your name? Your name?
Cloudy Blaze.
Okay. I have Minerva Charlotte.
What's his name?
Oh, it was underneath. Gave you two at once. I'm trying to get through them quicker. All right, Mr. Blaze, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of battery, domestic violence. I have read the charging affidavit, and I do find that there's sufficient probable cause. All right, ma'am, raise your hand, please. Solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
And your name?
Pauline Dupree.
All right, and you are the alleged victim in the case?
Yes.
Did you come here to tell me you don't want to have contact, or that you do?
I do want to have contact, and I don't want no charges because it was just a miscommunication.
Okay. Well, today, that's not what it's going to happen. That's going to be up to the state. But they'll certainly take your position into consideration when they make that decision, okay? All right. And he does qualify? All right, Mr. Blaze, you qualify for pretrial release, which would not require a monetary bond if you wanted that, or I'll set bond the amount of $500. PTR, though, does have conditions. You're going to have to meet with an officer, and they may drug test you.
What is the difference, Your Honor?
What's that? I'm sorry.
What is the difference?
Well, one of them you have to pay $500, and the other one you don't.
The other one I'm done?
No, you don't have to pay. You will be released with conditions. But the bond, you have to pay $500. If you pay that to a bondsman, you probably aren't gonna get that back. If you pay it to the county yourself, then you would get it all back if you do a cash bond. If you go pretrial release, you don't have to post the bond at all.
I have to pay?
Well, that's up to you. You need to tell me what you want. Do you want pretrial release, where you don't have to pay anything, but you will have to meet with an officer? Or you want a bond of $500, which you would have to pay, but you don't have to meet with the officer? That's the options.
Okay. So I don't wanna pay that.
All right, I'll pretrial release conditions in. No hostile contact, so that means you can't be hostile to Ms. Dupree. No guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol, and you can go back and be with her, okay?
Your Honor, I think the victim had a question.
Okay, go ahead.
His brother's outside to pay his bond. I don't think he really understand that he can get out like with being paid, but his brother is outside.
We can do it either way. If, I mean, I explained it 3 times. I don't know that he doesn't understand that. He can either pay a bond of $500 or he can do pretrial release.
Right.
And he said he doesn't want to pay. I mean, if he wants to,
Hey, the process is gonna be continued or?
okay, this case is gonna go forward regardless of whether you take PTR or bond out, okay? This is merely about whether you're gonna get out of jail and how you're gonna get out of jail today.
Okay, let
You're-
me just pay it and finish.
All right, $500 bond, not pretrial release,
Okay.
okay?
You didn't qualify, but you go ahead and point it. I don't know if you got any support to him either.
You make $1,500 a week?
Okay.
Do you?
You said if I can give you?
No, I said, do you make $1,500 a week?
Oh, yeah, sometimes. The
All right,
kind of
no,
job
he
that I made,
he doesn't
I
qualify, I'm not gonna point a public.
1,500 or.
Okay, I
Sometimes
just wanted to see if you qualified, you don't, so I'm not gonna appoint a lawyer, you're gonna have to hire somebody, because you make too much money, okay? All right, and just let them know that the bond paper will come down and the brother can bond him out.
Okay. Up downstairs?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Your name, ma'am?
Hello,
Hello, your name?
Minerva Charlo.
Hi, Mr. Charlo, you're here, Ms. Charlo, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of battery, domestic violence. I have read the charging affidavit, and I do find that there's sufficient probable cause. Now, were you living at the 706 20th Street address?
Yes, sir, that's my mom's address.
All right, and your mom is Clotaire Pierre?
No,
Who's-
that's
who
her
is that?
husband. That's
Her husband. Do you have another place to go and live?
I can try, yes,
With
sir.
a friend or somebody?
Yes, sir.
Because since there's nobody here, I'm gonna have to order that you not go back there and have any contact with them on the short term. Now, if it turns out later on that they're willing to do that, it can be changed.
Yes,
okay?
sir.
All right. I'll step on the amount of $500. Does she qualify? All right. And I'm gonna order that you not return to 706 20th Street, Orlando. You can go back there one time with law enforcement to get clothes, toiletries, stuff like that. Okay?
Because I'm on bond already, and
Yep, we're gonna talk about that in a second, okay? And you're not to have any contact with Clotaire Pierre. No guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol. As this case, well, the Agasol clearly hasn't been filed on yet, I assume.
No, Your Honor, it was just picked up on the 20th of May.
Yeah, all right, I'll take no action on that. And appoint a public defender. She's already got one on the other one. Okay, thank you, ma'am. Your name? All right, Mr. Gooden, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of battery domestic violence. I have read the charging affidavit. I do find there's sufficient probable cause. Were you living at the 5420 Silver Star Road address?
No,
Where do you live?
5516 Pine Chase Drive.
Who, does Teresa live at that Silver Star address?
No, sir. That's just, I think that's just where they met her at. Talked to her.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's true. All right, so what address do you live at? 5516 Pine Chase? All right, and does she live there also?
Yes.
All right, do you have another place to go other than that?
Yes, sir.
All right. He does? So you do qualify for pretrial release, so I can set a bond of $500, or I can release you with pretrial release conditions. One costs money, one doesn't, but you do have conditions on pretrial release. Which one do you want to do?
I will take the pretrial.
I'm sorry?
Take the pretrial.
All right, so pretrial release, no guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol, no return to the 5516 Pine Chase Drive, except one time you can go with law enforcement, pick up any personal items, and you'd have no contact with Teresa Williams. You're welcome. Your name, sir?
Daquan Laster.
All right, Mr. Laster, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of battery domestic violence. I have read the charging affidavit, and I do find sufficient probable cause. Do you have another place to live? Well, first of all, were you living at the 4034 Norwich Road?
Yes, sir.
All right, do you have another place to go?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you qualify for pretrial release, so you got two options. I can set a bond of $500, and there'll be some conditions you can't, and I'll tell you about those, or you can go pretrial release where it doesn't cost you anything, but you have to meet with an officer and they may drug test you.
Nah, I'll pay.
You want the 500?
Yes, sir.
All right. Set a bond amount of $500. You're not to possess any guns, drugs, weapons, or alcohol. You're not to return to 4334 Norwich Road, except for you can go one time with a law enforcement officer to pick up any personal items that you need. Clothes, that kind of stuff. Can't take furniture, any TVs or anything.
Okay, so my fund $500. 500 is $100, correct?
Well, that's going to be up to the bondsman, but yeah, usually that's what happens. And then you're not to have any contact with Kiana Reynolds.
And with that being said, is it somewhere where she can go downtown to, because we stay together? I know I got to go somewhere different for the meantime, but how we go, because we just moved in that place and all my money went to it.
Okay, I understand that. You're going to have to go somewhere else in the short term. You can go there one time to pick up anything that you need.
I understand. Sorry to cut you
Yeah.
off. I understand that.
Okay. Okay, good luck. Point of public defender. Your name, sir?
Dylan Perez.
Mr. Perez, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of battery domestic violence. I have read the stalking. I have read the charging affidavit, and I do find there's sufficient probable cause. You are obviously, you are not living at 1521 Nella Avenue, correct?
Correct.
All right. Okay, I'll set bond the amount of $750. You're to have no contact with Nicole Welch. No phone calls, no texts, no computer, email, nothing, okay? Can't go by where she is. No guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol, and you make $850 a week, is that right?
Correct.
You make a little too much. I can't appoint a public defender to represent you. You have to hire an attorney. What was the other one?
May I ask a question, Your Honor?
Hold on a second. I think we got another charge. I think we had two. Okay, yeah. Hang on a second. There was also a battery domestic violence charge. Okay, I marked it, so I must have read it.
There's two of them, Your Honor?
And that was alleged to occur at 2466 Ridge Avenue. Who lives at that address?
I do. That's me and my family's home.
Okay. Was Taylor Welch living there also?
No, she doesn't live there and never has.
Okay, so that 2466 is where you're going to go to live, is that right?
Correct.
Okay. All right, I'll set bond on that in the amount of $500 and no contact with Taylor Welch at all, no guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol, maintain a separate residence. Yep, yep. All righty, you're all set. You got bonds above?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Oh, wait. Yeah, he has to. Your name, ma'am?
Alana Ramnarayan Kandai.
Okay, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of battery domestic violence. I've read the charging affidavit. I do find that there's sufficient probable cause. Were you living at the Roseberry Court address?
Yes, Your Honor.
And do you have another place to go other than that?
I do.
Okay. All right, I will set bond the amount of $500. Or you qualify for pretrial release, which wouldn't require a $500 bond, but there are conditions. You have to meet with the pretrial release officer, and they may drug test you. So it would be, it doesn't cost you money, but there are conditions, other conditions that go along with it. Would you rather have just the straight bond, or would you like pretrial release?
The pretrial releases, what do I have to just get tested?
There'll be drug testing. You got to meet with your officer. They'll require you to speak with them from time to time until the case is resolved.
The first one.
You want that?
Yeah.
Okay. Pretrial release, no return to 9 Roseberry Court, Ocoee, Florida, although you can go there one time with law enforcement to pick up any personal items that you need, okay? No contact with Alana Devi Kandhai, and no guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol. Okay? Yep.
I'm Alana.
No contact, I meant, no contact with, is it Leanna?
Leanna, yes.
Leanna, okay, Leanna.
If she goes by my sister, can I go to the house tonight?
You have to maintain separate residences.
Yes, I spoke to my sister, and she will be going over by my sister's house. I spoke to her earlier.
Okay, well, I'm appointing a public defender for you. Make sure you keep in contact with them and check with them to make sure it's okay you do anything moving wise before you do it, just in case you don't want to get into a violation situation.
Yes,
Okay?
I'm sorry.
No, leave that and then maintain. So right now it's no return, but she may move out and then it'll be okay. Okay. She said she's still there now,
Right.
but she may go. So that's why I told her, don't go. All righty, take care. Good luck. Your name, sir?
Jonathan Armstrong, sir.
Hi, Mr. Armstrong, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. I've read the charging affidavit, and I do find that there's sufficient probable cause. Were you living with Angel Del Valle?
Your Honor.
Yep.
May I just be brief? Angel and I live together in a group home. Angel, he's in here with me. He just
Okay.
came just a moment ago, he's in a cell with me. He attempted to steal from me, and I asked him not to. And he got, by my boisterousness, he called enforcement and got me arrested. Said that I pulled a weapon. Angel then, after getting me locked away, went to break into where my landlord hid my things. To try, because he's trying to get high. And it has caused, I have been fighting from homelessness for the last year and a half, mental health. And all of it being distorted right now by, and I didn't even want to press charge. I thought they were going to take it.
Okay. Well, what I need to know now is though, so Angel's in jail, you're telling me?
He's here with me.
Okay.
Because he continued to do what he done to me.
All right. But the Gulf Vista Courts address, who lives there?
We live there. It's a
You and Angel?
It's a group home. We're all in a group home.
Yeah.
And I'm the last to show up at that group home because I moved from Poinciana to this one. And I've been in
All right, here we go.
3 years now.
Okay, bond is $3,500. I'll appoint a public defender to represent you. I'm gonna say that you need to keep a separate residence from Angel Del Valle. So if you're there, if he's there, you can't live there. If you're there and he's in jail, it's fine, okay? Understand?
The landlord's already takes our money. It's for real.
Okay.
It's all.
All right, no guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol. You can't take any kind of prescription medication that you may need, okay?
Your
All
Honor,
right,
I'm
yep.
sorry, what was that amount?
3,500.
Thank you.
I'm staying in, yeah. All right, like that. A couple more of those and we'll be all right. Your name, ma'am?
Jana Kaplan.
Hi, Ms. Kaplan, you're here because you're arrested on a charge of grand theft by fraud and possession of methamphetamine. I have reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find that there's sufficient probable cause. The bonds are stayed at $2,500 count one, $1,000 count two. And you're also arrested on a fugitive warrant, and that was from out of county? Burlington County, New Jersey. And there's no bond on that. We will make New Jersey aware of the fact that you're here. And they will come and get you, or if they don't, then eventually that'll get resolved, okay? And I will appoint a public defender to represent you here on the new charges.
Okay, for the out of county, can I waive the extraditional?
Yeah, they're gonna come by and talk with you. The people here from the extradition, they'll come by and talk to you about that. And that is an option that you will have. They'll have the paperwork for you to do that.
And I just have to wait until.
Yep,
Okay.
okay?
Maxon Cezaline is a bond.
Mhm. Your name, sir?
Mr.
Stacino, you're here because you're arrested on a warrant for a charge of burglary of a structure. Their bond is set in the amount of $1,500, and I'll appoint a public defender to represent you. Yeah, no return to the scene. Can't go back there if you do bond out, okay?
Right.
Thank you. Your name, sir?
Arnold Dixon, sir.
Mr. Dixon, you're here because you're arrested on a warrant for a charge of child abuse. Bond set in the amount of $1,000 on that. I'll appoint a public defender to represent you. And has the possession case been filed on from January?
I got court for that Thursday, sir. I've been.
Means it may be. Yeah, no contact, no guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol. All right, I'll take no action. Yeah. All right, we'll leave that bond in place. Don't miss your court date.
Okay.
Your name, sir?
Rory Fountain.
All right, Mr. Fountain, you're here today because you were arrested on a warrant for the charge of fleeing, attempting to elude. I read that it does appear to be that there was sufficient probable cause. I'll set bond the amount of $1,500. Do not operate a motor vehicle if you do not have a valid Florida driver's license. No guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol. And I will appoint a public defender to represent you on that charge.
You say how much is the bond?
$1,500. Your name?
Daniel Gardner.
Mr. Gardner, you're here because you're arrested on two charges, possession of a controlled substance, possession of OxyContin. I did have a question about this one. What is the second, because it's a possession of a controlled substance and possession of OxyContin. Obviously, OxyContin is a controlled substance. And the only thing I saw in here was that they had something identified as OxyContin.
Yes, Your Honor. I believe there were two separate bottles because that confused me as well. It's the way it's numbered is really strange. There's a number 1 and number 2, and they were both OxyContin. So the state has no objection to probable cause only being found for one of the charges.
All right, what I'll do is I'll find PC on the first count, stay that bond at 1,000, and then I'll ROR on count 2. Okay? So it's just $1,000, and I'll appoint a public defender to represent you. No guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol if you bond out, okay? She does, all right. Your name, ma'am?
Shayla Ginyard.
All right, ma'am, you're here today because you're arrested on a arrest warrant, probable cause warrant, for bank fraud, grand theft, third degree, structuring, more than 300, less than 20,000 in a 12-month period, making false statement to obtain property or credit. And there are bonds on those, but you do qualify for pretrial release, which would not require any monetary bonds. But there are conditions that go along with that. You'd have to be with an officer. They would drug test you, and you have to keep in contact with your officer. If you don't want to do that, then the bonds are $2,500, and then on the first count, and $150 on the other 3 counts or 4 counts. So which one did you want to do?
I'll take the pretrial release.
All right, I'll release your pretrial, with pretrial conditions. Do not return to the bank in the case. No guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol, and appoint a public defender to represent you. Your name, sir?
Eric Griffin.
All right, Mr. Griffin, you're here today because you're arrested on the charge of possession of cocaine. I did read the charging affidavit. You do find sufficient probable cause. Bond set in the amount of $1,000 on that. Any of these other cases that he's ROR'd on? Or I guess one he had a bond that they've been filed on?
Checking.
They look within the last couple of months, so it's, well, there's one that's from December, so that's the only one that's probably possible.
One for
2022 CF.
the 2022 case has been filed on, and it is set for trial on July 24th with Judge Wooten.
All right, I'll revoke that ROR, set a new bond of $2,000 on that, and leave the other two in place. And appoint a public defender to represent him. Excuse me? Yeah, no action on the, there's one with $1,000 bond, I think, and one where he was ROR'd on. Since they haven't filed on those. Yeah, this one, that one right here. Revoke, new bond of 2,000. Yeah, 2,000. The 22. No action. Yeah. Your name, sir?
Ryan Hill.
All right, Mr. Hill, you're here for two cases. First of all, you were arrested on charge of grand theft of a firearm. I have read the charging affidavit. There is sufficient probable cause. Bonds of set at $1,000. Okay, and then you also qualify for pretrial release. We'll talk about that in a second. You're also arrested on a arrest warrant for the same charge for grand theft of a firearm, and bond on that is $500. But you do, so it would be $1,500. But you do qualify for pretrial release. Doesn't require a monetary bond. You will have to report into an officer. You will be drug tested, and you have to report in every month. Do you want to do that, or you want to do the bonds?
The first option, please.
All right, so we'll do pretrial release on those. No guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol.
Yes,
I'll
sir.
appoint a public defender to represent you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the warrant one was number one. Your name, sir?
Jesse James.
All right, Mr. James, you're here because you're arrested. According to the charging affidavit, let me see if it's on there. Yeah, it just has possession of cocaine and possession of controlled substance. But if you read the charging affidavit, it looks like there's a petty theft also. It even lists it as one of the possible charges, but I didn't see that. Is he being held on a petty theft?
Your Honor, I have an add-on for larceny.
Because I don't see it. I mean, I think that there would be PC for it from what I read in the affidavit, but it didn't make the front of the charging.
Yes, Your Honor, I have two separate cases. I believe it might have been
Oh, did it get, what, do we have that? Was that for a different day? I don't
no,
have.
I have it as an add-on for today.
Oh, okay, all right. So as to the possession of a controlled substance without a prescription and the possession of cocaine, I do find sufficient probable cause. I will stay those bonds of $1,000. And on the petty theft, if there is an add-on on that, I'll set bond.
I don't have it.
Oh, you don't have it? Oh, I thought I, okay,
Hold on, let me have it.
okay.
You have it too, Sheriff? Because we don't have it.
Madam Clerk, would you like the number, the case number?
His MA number?
No, the case number.
What's case number?
23 MM 386 AW. 386.
386?
Yep, 386.
That seems awful low for this late in the year. 386 is awful low for this time of year already.
Okay,
20?
23 MM,
Yes.
because you said 386.
Yeah, she says 386. That's what I mean. That seems way too low for, I mean, we're sitting 3rd of June.
It's 386 AW, that's why I can't.
Oh,
find
there
it.
you go. That explains it.
Right.
It's Winter Park
AW,
case.
it's Winter Park. Hold on, let me look and see if I got it.
There we go.
386 AW, because I'm like, you keep giving this, you got this, you have it, Cheryl? Show.
See, he's being held on that.
I need one, can you print me one, because I don't have nothing. The 386, I couldn't have it.
Charging affidavit?
I need to charge them, David. Wait a minute, let me take it right quick.
Okay. Well, then we won't have, you'll have to do one of those, the bond papers for me to sign, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we got it straightened out now. That's a good thing. So you have 3 cases. 2 of them are the drug cases, possession of a controlled substance without a prescription and possession of cocaine. I do found probable cause on those. And bonds 1,000 and 1,000. You're not to possess any guns, weapons, drugs, or alcohol. And we're going to get on the petty theft. Bond will be set in the amount of $500 on that, in order that you not return to the Walmart store at 10,500 West Colonial Drive. And I'll appoint a public defender on all of the cases for you. Okay?
500.
Yes. There we go. All right. Okay, your name? Oh, Jeremy Johnson. All right. Public defender waive.
We'll waive.
All right. Appoint a public defender, set bond at $1,000. No guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol. See, Judge Harris, that's how you do it. All right, we waive.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, I will stay bond at $2,500. Appoint a public defender to represent him on the carry and concealed firearm. Stay bond at $5,000 on the ag assault with a firearm. Appoint a public defender on that case as well. Okay, now we're to these. Yep. So it'd be, was it 2,500 and 500? Yes. He had 2. There was 2, both warrants. All right, you ready? Your name, sir?
Tamarcus King, sir.
All right, Mr. King, you're here for several, looks like 4 cases. In the first case, it's a aggravated battery with a firearm, discharging firearm in public, possession of firearm by convicted delinquent, criminal mischief, shooting at or within a building, and grand theft 3rd-degree motor vehicle. It's based on a probable cause warrant signed by Judge Collins. The bonds are stayed $250,000 on an aggravated battery. That's not bond schedule.
Sir, they misidentifying me for somebody, sir.
Yeah, I'm gonna reduce that bond to 50,000 on the first one. I don't think that's bond schedule, even close to bond schedule. The rest of them will be stayed 250, 250, 250, 250, and appoint a public defender on that case. The next one is we're charged with armed burglary of a structure with a firearm, criminal mischief, grand theft, and burglary of a structure. I have read the charging affidavit 3 different times for 3 different people. I do find sufficient probable cause. On the armed burglary of a structure with a firearm, set bond amount of $5,000. Criminal mischief stay at $1,000. The grand theft, reduce that to $1,000. And the burglary of a structure while wearing a mask, $1,000. Point a public defender on that case. And then you have burglary of a conveyance, fraudulent use of a credit card, attempted fraudulent use of a credit card theft, and petty theft. Did find that was all based on an arrest warrant signed by Judge Egan, maybe. And I'll stay those bonds, 2,500, 2,500, 2,500, 1,000, and 500. Appoint a public defender on that case. And then the last one's a resisting without violence case. And that was also from an arrest warrant. So I'm gonna reduce that bond to $100 and appoint a public defender on that case as well. That's right, no contact, all the conditions remain the same. All righty. All right, good luck, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Your name, sir?
Khalid Long.
All right, sir, you're here because you're arrested on a charge of grand theft, third degree of a motor vehicle. I have read the charging affidavit. Bond was stated in the amount of $1,000. I'll appoint a public defender to represent you. Where is the, has the robbery case been filed on?
22. 7. 6. It's not. I believe it has, but when I put that number, yes, Your Honor, it's been filed on. It's set for a status on August 8th.
All right, I'll revoke the bond. There'll be no bond on that. And again, public defender appointed on the new case. Thank you, sir. Your name, sir? Come forward. Hi, Mr. McCrimmon, you're here because you're arrested on 3 charges: possession of amphetamine, possession of cannabis, less than 20 grams, and possession of drug paraphernalia. If you have read the charging affidavit, I do find there's sufficient probable cause. Bonds will be stayed at $1,000. I'm going to reduce the cannabis to $100 and the paraphernalia to $100, and I will appoint a public defender to represent you. And I know that's not filed on; it's too new, so I'll leave the other bond in place. We're all set. No action. They haven't filed, I'm sure.
We haven't.
Yeah, it's a March case. All right, what about Kelly McClohan on? Oh, she's got to be here. She didn't have a bond. Your name, ma'am?
Yes, Kelly Lynn McMullen.
All right, ma'am, you're here because you're arrested on a charge of fleeing, attempting to elude. I've read the charging affidavit. You find there's sufficient probable cause. I'll set bond the amount of $1,000. You're not to operate a motor vehicle without a valid Florida driver's license, and I will appoint a public defender to represent you.
Thank you very much, sir. Have a good day.
Hey, how you doing?
Your name, sir?
Orion Morgan.
All right, Mr. Morgan, you're here today because you're arrested on 3 charges: armed burglary, criminal mischief, and grand theft. I will set bond the amount of $5,000 on the armed burglary. Criminal mischief is $1,000, and the grand theft I'll reduce to $1,000. And I will appoint a public defender to represent you. If you do bond out, you're not to return to 1710 Gale Ridge Road and not to have any contact with co-defendants.
Yes, sir.
All righty, and as I said, appoint a public defender. Although at some point, you guys are going to be withdrawn from, because I think there's 3 or 4 different dudes, so.
Understood.
Alrighty, you're all set. Your name, sir?
Christopher Dwayne Osteen.
All right, Mr. Osteen, you're here because you're arrested on a charge of possession of cocaine, possession of drug paraphernalia. I've read the charging affidavit. I do find sufficient probable cause. As to the possession of cocaine, I will stay the bond at $1,000. On the possession of drug paraphernalia, reduce that to $100, and I'll appoint a public defender to represent you. If you do bond out, you're not supposed to use, possess any guns, weapons, drugs, or alcohol. All right?
There you go, sir.
Your name, sir?
Bruce Padilla.
Mr. Padilla, you're here today because you were arrested on a probable cause warrant for the charge of trafficking in a controlled substance over 4 grams, possession of a controlled substance with intent to sell or deliver, possession of a firearm and commission of a felony, possession of oxycodone, and possession of cocaine. I will set bonds on the trafficking in controlled substance, $50,000. The possession with intent, $5,000. Possession of firearm in commission of a felony, $1,000. Possession of oxycodone, $1,000. And the possession of cocaine, $1,000. I will appoint a public defender to represent you. If you bond out, you're not to use, possess any guns, weapons, drugs, or alcohol. Do you also have another name, Bruce Ayala?
Yeah, I just came out of
Because I think that you have some other, yeah, there's other stuff floating around.
Yeah,
I don't know if we have them today or coming up, but.
Yeah,
okay.
I just got out of rehab.
Yeah, alrighty.
All right.
Good luck.
Thank you. Excuse me, one
Yep.
question. So 50,000, I gotta pay 5 for it?
That's up to the bondsman.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you want to do it, if you want to get it all back, you'd have to pay it all, but a bondsman, that's your deal with them. Okay? Mhm. Yeah. Your name's? Well, it's better than, hey, have a good day, something. Your name, sir? I'm Mr. Parks. You're here today because you're arrested for 2 charges, possession of cocaine, possession of drug paraphernalia. You find sufficient probable causes, the possession of cocaine, bond be $1,000. I'll reduce the possession of drug paraphernalia to $100, and I'll appoint a public defender to represent you.
Yes, sir.
Oh, these damn trafficking cases. All right, you want to waive on that?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, as to, I'll appoint a public defender to represent Ms. Peters on count 1. It's with the firearm. I'll set bond amount of $75,000, stay the rest of the bonds. Your name, sir?
Malik Powell Key.
All right, Mr. Powell Key, you're here because you're arrested on a charge of possession of a controlled substance without a prescription. I've read the charging affidavit. I do find sufficient probable cause. Bond is set in the amount of $1,000, and I will appoint a public defender to represent you.
Thank you so much.
Your name, sir?
Oliver Puig, sir.
I'm Mr. Puig. You're here today because you're arrested on a charge of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. I've read the charging affidavit, and I do find there's sufficient probable cause. I'm gonna stay the bond at $2,500. And it looks like those other 2 cases are too new, so I'll take that. Yep.
The sale delivery of fentanyl was filed on, that's the 23 CF 000860 case, and it is set for trial on August 28th.
All right, I'll revoke that bond. And I'll set a new bond amount of $3,000. And no action on the other case, because they haven't filed on it yet. Wow, that was a quick file. Mm-hmm. Yep. All righty.
Was a refusal?
All right.
Waive, Your Honor.
You waive our appoint a public defender in all those cases. As to 9260, stay bond at $2,500. 5921, $500. looks like it's what, $770? $500. 6212, $1,000. And last but not least, 12090, 1,000. That seems way too high. That's like 12,000. There's no way that could be right. They're not that high in circuit yet, are they? Oh, okay. Oh, that explains it. All right, your name, sir?
Jalen Reynolds.
All right, Mr. Reynolds, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of armed burglary with structure with a firearm, criminal mischief, grand theft, $20,000 or more, less than $100,000, and burglary with structure with while wearing a mask. What did I set the last one for? The 5,000 on count one? Do you remember?
I'm looking, Your Honor.
It's the same exact charges.
It was for Tamarcus.
Yep.
This is Reynolds. Yeah, he's a co-defendant. He's looking for a similar bond.
Yeah.
So it was 5,000 on count one, and then 1,000 on the remaining three.
All right, that's what I'll do then. Same thing. Yeah, 5,000, 1,000, 1,000, and point of public defender. If you bond out, no guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol, no contact with the co-defendants.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
And Marcus Reynolds was a refusal.
Okay.
Waive, Your Honor.
All right, point of public defender, state bond in the amount of $1,000, no guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol. Your name, sir?
Brennan Sanborn.
Mr. Sanborn, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of possession of cannabis, more than 20 grams. I've read the charging affidavit. If you find sufficient probable cause, I can either stay the bond at $1,000, or you do qualify for pretrial release, which wouldn't require any money, but you do have to check in with your pretrial release officer at least on a monthly basis, and they'll probably drug test you.
So do you know how long my probation period might be?
Not any probation. This is just to see if you can get out of jail today.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
Do you want a bond of $1,000, or do you want pretrial release?
I can pay my bond, my 10% of my bond, like right now.
All right, I'll set bond the amount of $1,000, not to possess any guns, weapons, drugs, or alcohol. And do you want a public defender appointed?
Yes.
I'll appoint a public defender to
Yes,
represent
I
you.
need a public defender.
All right, your name, sir?
Kieran Uter.
All right, Mr. Uter, you're here today for a couple of cases. The charges are trafficking in fentanyl, trafficking in methamphetamines, possession of cannabis with intent, possession of methamphetamine, possession of drug paraphernalia, robbery, ag battery, and resisting officer without violence. The problem I have with the PC is it doesn't give, let me make sure. This was one, it doesn't have any weights.
Yes, Your Honor. There are two supplemental reports referenced. The state would just ask for 24 hours.
All right, I'll give you 24 hours. Yeah, they don't, just to let you know, what they filed just does not rise to the level of probable cause at this point. And so they're asking for 24 hours. They're entitled to that, so I'll give them 24 hours. That means within 24 hours, they have to file a supplement because the charging affidavit doesn't list any weights. And that's how it gets to be trafficking, is weight, right? Otherwise, it's just possession, and then I wouldn't find probable cause for the trafficking, which is really where the heavy bonds are gonna be. So we'll bring you back tomorrow, and they're gonna file the supplements, and we'll take a look at it. You do have a driving while license suspended charge, or was sufficient probable cause, and that bond is $500. I'll stay that bond.
Driving while license suspended?
Oh, that's the wrong, hold on, no. That's not you.
No, that's fine.
That's the next guy. I'd already moved on. Okay, so that's it. Yeah, just reset them for tomorrow. All righty, we'll see you tomorrow. If they don't have it by tomorrow, then then you may get our award on this. Okay, your name, sir?
Zay Vega.
All right, sir, you're here for, first of all, trafficking in cocaine, more than 28 grams, less than 200 grams, trafficking in controlled substance, more than 4 grams, possession of heroin with intent within 1,000 feet of a school, neglect of a child, times 3. And neglect of a child, times 3. And this is based on a probable cause warrant signed by a circuit judge. As to, and I'll stay those bonds, count one trafficking is 10,000, count two trafficking 10,000, count three 10,000. And the neglect of child to three charges, there's ROR on that. I'll appoint a public defender to represent you. You also had a driving while license suspended charge, and I'll set bond amount of $500 on that. You're not to operate a motor vehicle without a valid Florida license if you do bond out on that charge. And yeah,
The first one said no possession.
yeah, no guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol.
No, they can't.
Eric Wilson was refusal.
We'll waive, Your Honor.
All right, I'll appoint a public defender, stay the bonds, $1,000 count one, $1,000 count two. Your name, sir?
Ryan Zucrego.
All right, sir, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of possession of fentanyl, possession of drug paraphernalia, and possession of cannabis. I have read the charging affidavit. I do find sufficient probable cause in those. Bond is stayed at $1,000 on the fentanyl case. I'm going to reduce the drug paraphernalia to $100 and the possession of cannabis to $100. You also have a charge of no valid driver's license. I will reduce that bond to $100 as well and appoint a public defender on that one too. Okay? Your name?
Rita Barnes.
Ms. Barnes, you're here because you're arrested on two warrants for failing to appear. The bond is $1,500 on that. And I assume did you have a lawyer on that case before, or no? You-
Public defender.
Oh, so you already do have somebody, okay. You're all set.
And it at the time it had got swapped out because the people that I had the assault.
Right, so the PD withdrew and you got the conflict counsel office.
Yes.
Okay, all right, they'll be aware that you're here. Okay?
And I was trying to see if I know because they're saying my bond besides the $1,500 that is also $100 extra for each. I was just trying to see like if there's any way like I could probably get it lower. I just buried my son yesterday and literally.
Yeah, I understand. At this point, I can't really do that because the judge in Division 62, that was their bond, so I can't really do anything to it. So I have to leave it at that. Now, public defenders appointed, they can get in contact with the judge and see if maybe they can get that reduced on Monday, okay?
So I'll be here until Monday.
Well, unless you can bond out. Yeah.
All right.
All right. Your name, sir?
Marquise Jordan.
Mr. Jordan, you're here because you arrested on a couple of failure to appear warrants out of Division 50, two charges. There's $2,000 on each count, and I believe you already had an attorney in that case. Yeah, Dean Mosley's already representing you. Okay, you're all set?
The person I was with, they had a warrant. Is it got this? All right, appreciate it.
No, you don't have to talk.
You had me in the crazy house.
Your name, ma'am? Your name? Your name?
My name's Sheena Keenan.
All right, Ms. Kinos, you're here because you were arrested on a failure to appear warrant for a disorderly conduct charge. You failed to appear back on April 27th. There is a $500 bond on that, and if you didn't have a lawyer, I'll appoint a public defender for you now, okay? So you'll have a lawyer going forward, okay?
But I was in a mental health hospital, and that's why I didn't appear.
Well, you need to let your attorney know that. She's with their office, she'll let them know, and then they'll let the judge know.
So how much is the bond?
It's $500.
So I have to pay $500?
Well, if you can get a bondsman to do less, then you might be able to get out. Okay? Good luck.
Okay. So when will my next court?
Your attorney will tell you.
Your name, sir?
Jeremy Marte.
All right, sir, you're here today because you're arrested on charge of no valid driver's license.
Yes, sir.
I will set bond the amount of, he can't plea on these cases? He's got two. He's already, looks like out on bond on one. I don't know what division that is. I mean, I don't know if he's on probation or something that might cause him not to.
Just 1 minute.
Good time served him court costs if he wants to.
I don't, that's agreeable to me. I just can't see anything on this 2020 case, so I don't know. Yeah, they were unable to pull up the case. That's the only
Potentially.
sad that he would do on both. Your Honor, I, for whatever reason, am unable to pull up the 2020 CT case, but the state has no objection to him.
Just
Resolving.
go ahead and resolve them, okay,
Yeah, that shouldn't be a problem.
on both the 2020 CT 2417 and the new one. And then 2023 CT 378.
Yes, Your Honor, he would like to resolve the case today.
Okay. All right, so raise your right hand, please solemnly swear testimony you're about to give you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Sir.
So you just want to go ahead and enter pleas of no contest to both of these no valid driver's license, it'd be time served in court costs, is that what you want to do?
Yes, sir.
All right, are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol today?
No, sir.
Have you suffered from or been treated for any mental illness in the past?
No, sir.
All right, just got a plea form there. It's going to tell you the rights that you're giving up, and I'm going to run over a couple of them real quick, so you don't have to read it over right now. But you understand by entering this plea, you're going to give up the right to proceed to trial, the right at that trial to have a lawyer represent you, and one would be appointed if you cannot afford it. The right to have the case, require the state to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt. The right to question or cross-examine any witnesses the state would present to testify against you. The right to present your own witnesses, and finally, the right for you to testify or refuse to testify as provided by the United States and Florida constitutions. You understand you're giving up all those rights?
Yes, sir.
And finally, understand this is punishable by up to a maximum of 60 days in jail and up to a $500 fine. Those things aren't going to happen, but that is the maximum. And that the penalty, these pleas could be used against you if you're not a citizen in any deportation proceeding.
Yes, sir.
All right. I will accept your pleas. As to the 2022 CT 2417AO, I will withhold adjudication, time served, close court costs, and a $50 cost of prosecution. And I'll give you 12 months to get that paid. That's going to be about $301, so you can pay a little or all at once, as long as it's paid in the next 12 months. Yep.
Question, if I get my license, I still have...
Well, if you got your license, then I expect that whoever had these cases might dismiss them, and it would save you that money.
Okay.
So, but you'd have to bond out. If you want to just resolve them today, then you can get a license. This won't stop you from getting a license, but it won't change the fact that you've already pled on the charges. So you still want to resolve them?
I would take the plea, sir.
You just want to resolve them then? You still want to go forward or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So as to 2022, as I said, CT 2417AO, withhold adjudication, time served court costs. As to 2023, CT 3789AO, withhold adjudication, time served, court costs, $50 cost of prosecution, 12 months to pay, and those sentences run concurrent with one another. And as I said, this won't affect you. You can go get a license still. You can get 20 no valid driver's license and it would never keep you from getting a license. As long as you're not in arrears on anything else. Okay? All righty, good luck.
Sorry,
Yep.
last question.
Yep.
So I could bond out, correct? I don't have a hold on,
That's right. Yep. You're all set.
that's why I could.
Yep. You don't have the bond out. You're done. Yeah, you pled. See, I'm just, yes,
No, like, that's confusing me, like, what?
All right, your name, sir?
Harry Ray Rowe Jr.
Mr. Rowe, you're here today because you were arrested on a charge of no valid driver's license, driving license suspended, and failure to register a motor vehicle. I read that charging affidavit. Did you find that there's sufficient probable cause? Looks like he's out on bond. And the bonds are set as follows. As to the no valid driver's license, I'm gonna reduce that to $100. The driving license suspended, reduce that to $500, and the no registration, $100. And I'll appoint a public defender to represent you, and I'll take no action on the bond case.
Sir, can I talk for a minute?
Yep.
I just went to court Wednesday
Uh-huh.
in Ocoee.
Yep.
And the Honorable Judge Martha Adams said,
Yep.
since it's a 49cc scooter, it requires no registration, and anything that does not require registration also requires no driver's license.
Okay.
So if she's telling me that I don't need a registration or a license, why am I being pulled over by Ocoee police and taken to jail for it?
Well, at this point, you just got arrested. So the state may not file on it, or they may not go forward. They may say, you know what, he's right, we're not gonna go forward. But if they do, that sounds like a defense. Sounds like you talk to your assistant public defender about that, and they'll get that set up for you, okay? Because that's gonna be up to them now to take that information to the state.
Who?
Because you're a lawyer. Because the judge is quoting to you what the fact is, in other words, what the law would say, but the scooter you have may be just over the line. Maybe you're incorrect about what it actually is. I don't know. I'm just saying that's usually what happens. Okay. So, but you have a lawyer. They'll talk to the state. You talk to them, and they'll talk to the state about that and see if maybe they can get it dropped for you. Okay.
So, as a judge, do anything 50cc and under, does it require a registration or license? I'm not trying to get in trouble each time, but if a judge...
Yeah, I know. But here's the problem, because what they tell you sometimes, the number is like, a lot of them are just over the line or just under the line, okay? And so it could be that you do have a defense for it. So that's gonna be up to your attorney, though. They're gonna be able to go to the state and show them that information. Hopefully they can find something about your scooter that they can give the state to show a specific number as to what the CC is.
Well, it's
Okay.
a 2000 model, and it's never been registered. And it's coincident, it's never been registered, and it's 23 years old, because it never had to been registered.
Right. Well, just because something hasn't been registered doesn't mean it didn't have to be, because we know people do that all the time. But I'm not saying yours needed to be registered. I don't know, unfortunately. All I have is a traffic ticket. I don't have anything about your particular scooter. But your attorney will be able to dive into that, okay? Yep. Your name, sir?
It's Carl Jones.
Mr. Jones, you're here today for two matters. First of all, trespass on an occupied structure and resisting an officer without violence. There is sufficient probable cause on that. The bond on the resisting without violence would be $100, and the trespass, $100. I'm gonna reduce them both to $100, and I'm gonna appoint a public defender to represent you.
Can I see if the state has an offering for me today, please?
Do they have? I don't know. Usually they would.
Adjudication.
Just one moment, Your Honor.
Sure.
Mr. Jones was just here on May 10th for an open container. I believe he saw me. For this case, state would be offering credit time served with a no return to the Wawa, and please don't come back to see me.
I can do that.
You wanna do that? All right.
Wow, I do.
It will not be credit time served next time.
Okay, for both.
That's it, yeah. Adjudication, time served, court costs, and I'll give you 12 months to pay. All right? She's gonna fill out a plea form.
All right.
Raise your right hand, solemnly swear testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
So help me God.
You do wish to enter a plea of no contest to these two charges, is that right?
For those two
All right.
charges.
Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol?
No.
Have you suffered from or been treated for any mental illness in the past?
No.
All right, on that plea form, it tells you that you have the right to proceed to trial. You have the right to, at that trial, to be represented by an attorney, and if you cannot afford one, one will be appointed. You have the right to question or cross-examine any witnesses the state would bring to testify against you. You have the right to bring your own witnesses. And finally, you have the right to testify or refuse to testify based upon your rights under the Florida and United States Constitution. You understand you're giving up those rights?
Yep.
You also understand that you have the right to require the state to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt. Yes? Okay, then the resisting is punishable, actually, they're both punishable by up to a year in the county jail, up to $1,000 fine, and that the entry of your plea could be used against you in a deportation proceeding if you're not a citizen. You understand that?
Yes.
All right. I'll accept your pleas. As to count one, resisting without violence, I'll withhold, I guess. Withhold adjudication, count one, sentence time served, impose court cost, $50 cost of prosecution. Trespass, occupied structure, I'll withhold adjudication. Time served, those sentences run concurrent with one another, and I order that you not return to the Wawa store for a period of 1 year. If you do go back there and the court is made aware of that, meaning I hear that you've gone back there, you are subject to a contempt citation, which could result in up to 180 days in the Orange County Jail. All right. The court costs and the cost of prosecution needs to be paid at any time in the next 12 months. Okay?
All right.
You're all set.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Stay out of trouble,
Right.
please.
I got a withhold on both and credit for both, right?
It won't be the next time.
Yes, sir. Could you sign here at the bottom where it says defendant, please? Right there at the bottom, sir. All right, thank you.
All right.
For some reason, they're not on any of the paperwork.
Oh,
There.
what was the case?
Oh, 23 MN 138AE.
All right.
Thank you.
Timothy Reardon.
We'll waive, Your Honor.
All right, I will appoint a public defender, set bond in the amount of $500. No guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol, no return to 61 East Pine Street, the Cocktail Lounge. No contact with Joseph Senia, S-E-N-I-E-A. Your name, sir? All right, you're here today because you arrested on a charge of trespass. I've read the charging affidavit. You find sufficient probable cause. The bond will be set in the amount of $500. And I'll appoint a public defender to represent you. Is there any offer on that case?
No, Your Honor, he's out on a bond already, and he doesn't have any listed convictions, so I didn't want to give him a history.
Okay,
Eligible
all right.
for child diversion.
All right, and I'll take no action on that on bond.
Yeah, it's gonna probably be 100. Your attorney will call you.
Come on up, sir. Your name, sir?
What's your name?
Your name?
Your name?
Walensky, St. Louis.
All right, sir, you're here today because you're arrested on a trespass after warning case. I've read the charging affidavit. Do you find there's sufficient probable cause? Is there an offer?
It would be credit.
I ain't do nothing. I ain't to those people over there. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't steal nothing. I didn't touch nobody.
All right,
Some
all right.
reason,
Then
they
I'll
just
set
want
bond
to-
in the amount of $500. I'll appoint a public defender to represent you. You're all set.
You got, sir.
No return. All right. Hope that's not an 84 case. All right, your name, ma'am?
Danielle Thomas.
All right, Ms. Thomas, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of battery. And let's see, were you living at the Encore Apartments on Americana Boulevard?
No, my sister was staying over there.
That's Davine Mathis, is that right?
No, Davis Mathis, that's my first love.
Who is that?
First love.
Oh, okay. Has there been a second love?
No, no, sir.
Well, maybe that's what needs to happen. All right, well, so that address then, what is that address? Who lives there?
My sister stayed there. I was there getting my hair done. He ended up dropping me
Okay,
off.
so you don't live there? Perfect, all
My
right.
sister.
And does he live there? Does your,
No, he don't live there.
okay. All right, well, I'll set bond in the amount of $500. You're not to have any contact with Davine Mathis or David Mathis. And I guess you can go back to that, because he didn't live there, you can go back to that address and visit your sister if you want to. I'm not gonna say that, but no guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol.
No,
And,
sir.
and I'll appoint a public defender to represent you, and yeah, that's brand new. I'll take no action on the petty theft case. Your name, sir?
Maurice Thornton, sir.
All right, sir, you're here for two cases. First of all, a battery and a trespass. I read the charging affidavit. I do find that there is sufficient probable cause. The West Livingston, 101 West Livingston is Sunrail. You don't live there, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you got no reason to go back there.
I just wanted to say, clarify something on the record, Your Honor.
I know what you're gonna tell me is that they jumped on you.
Yeah,
I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm just saying I know that because I read that in the affidavit.
Yes, sir. And then the cameras, it was cameras that seen the fight, and they didn't even try to, the officers didn't try to do the right investigation to look at the cameras, because I was attacked first, sir. And that wasn't the first time that the incident happened with that person that attacked me.
Okay, well, this is what's gonna happen. Your attorney is gonna hopefully be able to get that for you,
Get
okay?
the cameras for me? Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
hopefully. So I'm gonna set bond amount of $500 on the battery. I'll reduce the bond on the trespass to $100. If you do bond out, you're not to return to the Sunrail station at 101 West Livingston Street, not to have any contact with the alleged victim or the witnesses in the case, not to possess any guns, weapons, drugs, or alcohol. And it looks like you're also being held on a violation of probation. And there's no bond on that. And I'll appoint a public defender on that if you need one there. Okay?
Do you know when I'll be set court date for my,
I do not know oh, yeah, it's Leon County? Yeah, so we'll let Leon County know that you're here,
yeah, but my
then that'll
probation
get that in the works.
My probation is switched here from Leon County, so my probation.
Well, I understand that, but what that means is that your supervision was up there, but actually if there's a violation, it'll be up there. So they'll have to get you back up there, okay? But we'll let them know that you're here. All righty.
One more thing, Your Honor.
Yep.
The trespassing that I got, how could I be trespassed when I never was in trespass?
Because according to the affidavit that you were there, they asked you to leave and you didn't leave. That's a trespass. If a person that has the ability to ask you to leave does so and then you refuse to leave, that's a trespass. That's how it reads. I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm saying that's what it says in the affidavit, and that's what I have to go on to find probable cause. Okay? But you're gonna have a lawyer who's gonna look into all that, and hopefully they're gonna find that video for you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, good luck.
Yeah.
All right. Your name, sir? Oh. You must have skipped one. What about Jose Acevedo Coto?
That was out of county.
It's an out of county. Is it out of order?
230, 14403. You said 230, 144? Yeah, 02. 02? 02, yeah.
All right. That answers it. No, you're Bianca, right? Bianca Delaney. All right. Here because you're arrested on a violation of probation warrant. The bond on that is $1,000, and I'll appoint a public defender to represent you on that violation of probation.
Yes.
Your name, sir?
Mr. Rusoff.
Mr. Russoff, you're here because you're arrested on a violation of probation for your sexual battery case. There is no bond on that. I'll appoint a public defender to represent you.
No, he had a key Wave Weaver is his attorney.
Oh, Mr. Russoff, do you already have an attorney?
Yes, sir.
All right, then we want a public defender then.
You just talk to your attorney.
Is it because of the original charge? Because the charge was dropped to just battery. There was no sexual charge against.
That's how it punches out on there. But it's a violation of probation. Says looks like there was a urine sample that was positive. It just says count one and which was sexual battery, physically helpless, defendant and victim 18 or older. Amended to felony battery. Yeah, it was just a battery. But it's still a violation. The violation was a hot urine. Okay? Not at this point, no. That's Judge Harris's order. Okay? Your attorney can contact the judge. All right, your name, sir?
Deion Williams.
Mr. Williams, you're here today on a violation of probation, for a violation of probation warrant, I think. Or was that on site? Yeah, and there's no bond on that. It says 2 cases. Did he have it? Oh, I gotcha. Yeah, you're arrested for a charge of driving while suspended as an habitual traffic offender. I do find sufficient probable cause. I'm going to reduce that bond from the 2,500 to 500. But they did on-site a probation violation. There is no bond on that. I will appoint a public defender on both cases though for you, so they can get working on that.
Okay.
All right.
There you go, sir.
Your name, sir?
Randy Young.
All right, Mr. Young, you're here today for a violation of probation on your battery on a law enforcement resisting with violence, and there is no bond on that. I'll appoint a public defender to represent you on that violation.
Yes, sir. So what that mean?
That means that they violated your probation for doing something that you weren't supposed to do allegedly, and that there isn't a bond on that, but you do have a lawyer who's going to look into it. Your name, sir?
Keith Jones.
All right, Mr. Jones, you were here because you were arrested on a charge of open container. Is there an offer?
Yes, Your Honor, it would be credit time served.
Mr. Jones, if you wish to enter a plea, the state's offering withhold of adjudication and time served, just be court costs. Did you want to do that? And it's a city case, it would be 233, or no, 223. You want to do that? Yes? Is that yes?
Yes.
All right. Are you under the influence of any drugs? Well, first of all, raise your right hand. Solemnly swear testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
All right. Have you suffered from or been treated for any mental illness in the past? Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol now?
No.
You understand that you're going to give up some rights. Those are going to be listed on that plea form, and I'm going to go over a couple of them. First of all, you understand that you're giving up the right to be represented by an attorney. If you cannot afford one, one would be appointed. You have the right to proceed to trial. You have the right to demand the state to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt at that trial. You have the right to question or cross-examine any witnesses that the state may bring to testify against you. You have the right to present your own witnesses. And finally, you have the right to testify or refuse to testify based on the Florida and United States Constitutions. You understand you're giving up all those rights by entering this plea of no contest. Finally, you understand that this is punishable by up to 60 days in jail, up to a $500 fine, and that the entry of your plea could result in deportation if you're not a citizen. Yes? All right. I'll accept your plea. I'll withhold adjudication. You'll be sentenced to time served. I'll impose court costs of $223, and that's it. And then and I'll give you 12 months to get that paid, and you'll be released as to this case.
Your Honor, I apologize. Can I get the case number on that
Sure.
again?
23MO780.
Thank you.
All righty. Thank you, sir. Your name?
Leroy Mack.
All right, Mr. Mack, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of open container. I've reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find there's sufficient probable cause. Is there an offer?
Yes, Your Honor, it would be credit time served.
All right. Mr. Mack, if you wish to enter a plea of no contest, the state's offering a time served and a withhold of adjudication, and there would be court costs of total of $223. You want to do that?
Yes, sir.
So you'd like to enter a plea of no contest, is that right? Raise your right hand and solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Yes? Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol today?
No.
Have you suffered from or been treated for any mental illness in the past?
Yes, sir.
You have?
Yes, sir.
Take any you put your hand down. Take any medication for that?
I was taking, in the military, I was taking something for anxiety and anxiety and stress.
All right, but you understand what's going on here today?
Yes, sir.
All right. And you understand that that you're going to give up some rights by entering this plea. You give up the right to go to trial, the right at that trial to have a lawyer represent you, and one would be appointed if you couldn't afford it. The right to require the state to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt. The right to question or cross-examine any witnesses that the state would bring. The right to bring your own witnesses. And finally, the right for you to testify or refuse to testify under the Florida or United States Constitution. You understand you're giving up all those rights?
Yes, sir.
Finally, you understand this is punishable by up to 60 days in jail, up to a $500 fine, and that the entry of your plea could result in deportation if you're not a citizen. Understand?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'll accept your plea. I'll withhold adjudication, impose court costs of $223, and I'll give you 12 months to get that paid. You can pay a little at a time or all at once, and I'll withhold adjudication. You'll be released as to this case.
Thank you for your service, Mr. Leroy. Stay safe, please.
All righty. Your name, sir?
Davidson.
Last name?
Mauricio.
All right, sir, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of open container. I've read the charging affidavit. I do find there's sufficient probable cause. State.
It would be a credit time serve offer, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Measure, if you wanted to resolve your case today by entering a plea of no contest, the state's going to recommend that I sentence you to the time you've served with a withhold of adjudication, and there would be court cost of $223. Is that what you want to do? Want to enter a plea of no contest to resolve it today? And you would get out. Is that what you want to do?
What do you speak? Your Honor, he speaks Creole. He doesn't speak
Oh.
English very well.
Okay. We'll try. All right, well, let's pass him for just a sec, and then we'll see. You know, we have 2 to go. Come on up, sir.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello. Your name?
My name is Emmanuel Bartholomew Strickland.
All right, Mr. Strickland, you're here today because you were arrested on a charge of open container.
Yes.
I have read the charging affidavit. Do you find sufficient probable cause? Is there an offer on that one?
Yes, Your Honor. It would be credit time served, and we would just ask that you take no action on the other 2 cases that he's out on.
Okay.
I don't have access to the city attorney's cases, so I can't close the other open container.
All right, so if you would want to enter a plea of no contest, it would be time served and court costs, and you'd be released on this case.
Yes, sir.
Is that what you want to do?
Yes.
All right. Are you, raise your right hand, solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. As best as you can. You understand? You agree with all that?
I do agree with that.
All right. Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol today?
No, I'm not.
Have you suffered from or been treated for any mental illness in the past?
No, sir.
All right. You understand that by entering your plea today, you're going to give up some rights. You're going to give up the right to proceed to trial. You give up the right at that trial to be represented by a lawyer. And if you cannot afford one would be appointed for you. You give up the right to require the state to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt at your trial, the right to question any witnesses the state would bring to testify against you, the right to bring your own witnesses, and finally, the right for you to testify or refuse to testify as provided by the United States and Florida constitutions. You understand that?
I copy that.
All right, and then lastly, you understand this is punishable by up to 60 days in jail, up to a $500 fine, and that the entry of your plea could result in deportation if you're not a citizen. You understand all that?
Understood that.
All right, I'll accept your plea. I'll withhold adjudication. You'll be sentenced to the time you've served. I'll impose court costs of $223, and you can pay that at any time in the next 12 months, little at a time or all at once, as long as it's paid in 12 months. Okay? You'll be released as to this case. Yeah, no action on the other 2. And the cases you're out on bond on, you still have 2 other cases pending. Make sure you keep in contact with your attorney.
Most definitely understood.
Good morning.
Good afternoon. Have you been sworn today, Madam Interpreter?
No.
All righty, you can swear the interpreter.
Right hand, do you solemnly swear to translate from Creole to English, from English to Creole, in the testimony given today?
Yes.
State your name and your ID, please.
Wolf 260778.
All righty. Okay. Mr. Marisher, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of alcohol, open container.
Monsieur Marcher, raison que là, je dis, il était arrêté parce que des alcool qui ouvert.
Yes. Yes, Your Honor.
The state is offering, if you wish to resolve your case today, a withhold of adjudication, time served, and court costs.
L'État côtoyant, il m'a dit, est-ce que vous voulez résoudre cas, je dis, non seulement il va pas bon avec juridiction, et puis les fini, ou payer temps ou étant servi dans la prison, la petite ville contre même, et puis avec l'argent, il a demandé pour payer.
Mwen poko ge l'ajan konye la, non? On va pas konnen, faut que mwen ta ale la kay ou soit ka pre mal travail, mwen ta paye.
Okay, for the court cost, Mona, I don't have the money right now to pay. I probably have to go home to get the money, so I don't have the money right now.
That's
if I have
okay.
to pay it now.
All right, that's okay. I would give you 12 months to pay it, so you just have to pay it within the next 12 months.
Pas de problème. Ma boîte 12 mois pour payer. So, ou juste payer avant un an, t'as dit?
Ah, eh ben ok, pas de problème. M'a gen an paye depuis son mois, oui.
Yeah, I'll pay it in a month, Mona.
Okay. So you do want to enter a plea of no contest and resolve the case, is that correct?
Ou voulez entrer en plein jeudi, ou voulez choisir que ou pas choisir rien, et ou voulez jusqu'à jeudi là, et pas vrai?
Ah, moi, juste besoin aller jeudi. S'il te ka relâché jeudi, elle t'a bon pour moi. Pile parce que demain, si Dieu veut me le travail.
Yes, I want to resolve that today because, if I could go home today, that would be great. Tomorrow I have to go to work.
All right. Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol today?
Est-ce qu'on a influence drogue avec alcool qu'on y a?
Non.
Non.
Have you suffered from or been treated for any mental illness in the past?
Est-ce que ou gen maladie mentale le passé ou bien est-ce que ou te pas ou traitement pour maladie mentale?
Non, non, non. Seulement, je souffre d'oppression.
No, I only have asthma, that's all.
Okay. Now you understand that you could go to trial and you could, if you wanted to, but by entering this plea, you're waiving that right.
Ou connaît que ou gen droit soulever pour aller dans jugement ou aller dans jugement. Mais si choisi avec play au bon jodi ou relever droit ça veut dire que ou pas droit aller dans jugement encore si choisi ça au fou jodi.
Ah, ben ok, pas aucun problème. T'as aimé aller jeudi, hein?
Okay, not a problem, Mona. I really want to get released today.
Okay. And finally, you understand this is punishable by up to 60 days in jail and up to a $500 fine, and that the entry of your plea could be used against you in any deportation proceeding if you're not a citizen.
Okay, so avec ça ou li pas droit faire long ou ka faire 60 jours en prison si vous jeune coupable et puis il faut payer jusqu'à $600. Si vous avez un cas immigration, li doit même cause ou déporté. Est-ce que vous êtes au courant de ça?
Yeah, moi t'as des bagages ça. Moi gen ID, moi gen social security, moi gen green card, man.
Yes, I heard about that, but I have my ID, I have my social, I have my green card. I already have those.
Okay, perfect. So I will accept your plea. I'll withhold adjudication. I'll sentence you to time served and impose court costs. And you have 12 months to pay the $223. And you'll be released today.
Okay, so n'a prend play là et il faut connaître que vous choisissez que vous coupable et puis pourtant vous êtes en passé dans prison et ça fini et puis ensuite nous pas kembe pour aucune juridiction et puis les fini ou gon l'argent à payer je dis. Mona, what is the cost again? I'm sorry.
223.
Thank you. Et vous gagnez pour payer $223.
Combien lié?
$223.
Oh, m'a gen an paye distance pour moi.
Okay, Mona, I'll pay that money in a month.
Okay, no problem. As long as it's paid in the next 12 months. He's all set. You'll be released today.
Pas de problème. Pas de problème. De vous payer l'argent ça dans un an, pas de problème. Et puis après l'argent aujourd'hui.
Merci un peu, merci un peu.
Thank you so much, Mona.
All righty.
So much.
Thank you, and thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your service. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.